Hello and welcome to the RPG Blender, where we give lesser played games and forgotten settings the roll of the dice they deserve. I'm your host, Game Master George, and today we are bringing you our second ever live actual play of a role-playing game. Now, this is what we call a grab bag gaming, which means that we take a game that we haven't played before and take it from character creation through a completed one-shot adventure. Now, I will admit, we are cheating a little bit with this one, because we did play Kids on Bikes, but today we are playing Kids on Brooms, which is very different, completely different, in no way similar whatsoever. This is a game where you play as children attending a magical university. Children or faculty members. Yes, this should be interesting. The system is very rules light as far as things go, and it's more about the narrative storytelling that goes on. And in particular, what we're going to be focusing on tonight, the character creation. You see, the character creation process is cooperative from step one. We're going to be building a world together, not simply having one that I create and feed to the players. This world is going to be created by them as they answer a series of questions. They will be defining what this school is that they attend. Meanwhile, they're also going to be building their own characters, of course, but they're going to be defining their relationships with each other as they answer relationship questions, depending on whether they have a positive or negative opinion of the other person. This allows them not only to be coloring their character, but also some key backstory moments of the other player characters. So, without any further delay, let's dive into this and meet our players. You probably know her as the Noob Mama. We have Kate. Welcome, Kate. Oh, and thank you, the real RDMT, for the cheer. So excited. Welcome, Kate. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Oh, I did it again. I always do it to you. I only do it to you. Thank you, a Rose in Jersey. You are my guardian, apparently. Kate is no longer muted. Thank you, chat.
You know, this is a conspiracy of some kind. I don't know what's going on here. Hi, I'm Kate, aka New Mama, and I have a background in comics and then moved on to Twitch streaming, which I am loving, and thank you for having me again. I'm so excited.
Thrilled to have you. I know you mentioned that you were excited to play this game, so hopefully it lives up to the hype. Moving down the line, we have Rich, Dr. Mr. Freckles. Let's hope you're not muted, Dr. Mr. Freckles. Oh, and...
No, I'm kidding.
Are you messing with me?
Of course
you are.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Rich, aka Dr. Mr. Freckles. Some of you may know me from rooting behind dumpsters at various supermarkets, perhaps your own dumpsters. But you know, we'll get there, and I hope to see you soon.
Okay. With that, thank you for the follow, the real RDMT. Welcome to the stream, and we hope to see you again after this is concluded. All right, and now our final player for the evening. Welcome, Craig from Do and Die Gaming.
Oh, didn't see you there. Hey there. Glad to be here.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, I'm Craig, aka Do and Die Gaming, another Twitch streamer here, as well as voice actor, and all around having fun kind of guy that likes to drive George crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the real passion behind this project.
Yes, that is the true passion. You see, normally, as the game master, I am the one who gets driven crazy by my players, by all their wacky shenanigans, but I devised this system where I get to torture them with all new systems constantly keeping them on toes, so that they don't have as much time to torture me. Anyway.
True, we really got to squeak it in.
Oh, yes, he also likes to shoot ducks and sus dogs.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So with that in mind, let's dive into establishing this world. So, we'll see here that there are a series of blanks to be filled in along these questions. So what we're going to do is each of you are going to take turns filling in one of those blanks, establishing some detail about this world. And I will be here frantically typing in whatever you create and attempting to adjust it to fit into that parchment window. We'll see how well that goes. So,
Outstanding.
chat, who should go first? Whoever says the first name gets to choose.
Ooh, quick draw.
Let's see which way. I look that way, right? I'm
Rich.
looking at
Okay. Thank you, A Rose in
you,
Jersey,
buddy.
for nominating the one player who's going to derail
Yeah.
this. All right, Rich. Go ahead and pick your question.
All right. I thought we were just gonna go down.
Oh, you get to
Oh, no. You
pick?
get
I
to
know.
pick. You do not
Oh,
need to
that's
answer in
cool.
order.
I wasn't ready for this.
So
No.
the school's name does not need to be the first thing that you answer. You could create something that your famous alumni was known for. You could create that before we know their name.
Okay, so the most notable landmark is known as the obelisk. And the obelisk is where essentially a wizard that the school is built around actually attempted a ritual to draw in a bunch of power to make himself immortal, but unintentionally forced an obelisk to kind of grow out of the ground around himself, petrifying himself for all time. So it's known as a petrified peak or obelisk peak, or just the obelisk. But it's a place of great magical concentrated energy and a lot of nice flora and fauna.
Wait, did you say
In the area?
Peak or Pete? Like a guy named Pete is stuck in it?
Well, they call him
Oh.
petrified Pete, but that's more of like a first year thing. But
That was
when you have a little
first
bit more
years.
reverence for what actually happened, you call it obelisk peak.
So tell us more about this petrified Pete.
Uh-oh. He's sinking into
so-
something.
So with Petrified Pete, he essentially actually gathered a bunch of wizard and magical creatures in order to try and consume the magic from them. And it's even said that in alternate timelines, he succeeded and kind of melded into the universe, ripping magic from the very fabric of reality. However, in our world, that did not happen. And reality almost kind of fought back and created this spire around him, dampening his magic power and turning it in on himself, almost freezing him for eternity in the moment of his ascension.
I just want to point out, you just slipped alternate realities in there.
And that's just it. That is why I wanted him to continue with this, because I knew that Rich was going to throw something like this in. And this is an important lesson for you people who would like to maybe run this game one time. You are creating the story when you're running this based on what your players create. So in that, he has created a magical locus that was used to draw energy from various creatures, which is at the heart of this school.
Mm-hmm.
He has also established multiple timelines as a possibility, which creates multiple possibilities of this person. So, as an example, I could take this storyline and run with it, and perhaps this magical nexus is being used by one of the versions of Petrified Pete that succeeded. And now he wants to find all of the other versions of Petrified Pete, draw them to this obelisk, absorb the power that they took from their own magical creatures. And now we've got a storyline from one question answered.
I'd like to go back and rename the school.
Oh my god.
Erase all of that. Don't do it.
We're on the first question.
So your
we
most
already
important
have
thing.
a main storyline.
All right. So moving down the line from Rich, we'll get to Craig. Craig, go ahead and pick a question and answer it.
Okay, so I too would like to create a tapestry of history in our universe. But I will go for something that might be easier to warm up on, because I'm not going to run down that gauntlet of what Rich just did. Our school is called P Gazette. P Gazette.
You want to spell that before I attempt to?
Sure. P-I
Mm-hmm.
apostrophe G-H-Z-I-T. P Gazette.
Okay. And where did this name come from?
Obviously, it came from the culmination of a union of wizards and warlocks and
Mhm.
witches who decided that there needed to be a center point for the light, the dark, the lawful, and the chaotic magics, all coinciding into a true neutral unification for as these forces are needed and used. And P. Gazit is a invented term for the center point of all magical essences.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Okay.
Dig it.
How did that term get invented? What does it derive from?
That's a great question. That's a great question, George. It honestly, it was the first guy who said we need this, and they were like, "Well, you chose it, so I guess you get to name it." And so he was like, "Oh, okay. What do I name it? What do I name it?" And then he looked around and he saw like a pig around. It was like a animal familiar that was one of his friends, and he was like, "Pig, okay." And then as he was looking at it, he looked at one of the other witches was there who had this giant zit on her nose, and he was like, "Ugh!" And then he went, "Oh wait, Pigazit, Pigazit," and that's how it came to be. That's what you get now for asking me further questions than the name.
No, that tracks. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So we have a world of multiple realities, a nexus of magic, and a school named after a pigzit.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Nice.
Kate, where can you go from here?
Gosh, George, I just don't know. The head of our school is named Bernard Beaselbum.
Did you
Good
say
name.
easel or feasel?
Beaselbum.
Basil bum.
Triple B.
Good old triple B.
Good old Triple B.
That's what the
Would you
final
like to
year
establish the
students call 'em.
spelling for that, or go with mine?
No, you go nuts, George. I trust you.
Okay.
That's what I should have said. I should say, you decide. You decide.
I didn't give you the choice.
That's not cool.
Oh, and it runs over.
That's
Must-
okay.
Must adjust. So, Bernard Beaselbum. That's a very unique name.
Well, they're a unique family. Bernard comes from the line of the first witches and wizards. Like the original, he's Bernard the
Yeah, that's right. Decide how long the wizard age has been.
15th? He's Bernard the 15th. And the very first Bernard was the one to be like, okay, so we found this thing. How can we as mortals use it? And so he was like the first one to figure out true harnessing of the magics in the world.
Okay. All right, I'll go with that. We now have our origin of magic. All right, Rich. How can you top this?
Help us.
I mean, all right.
Yeah. Hold my beer. Yeah.
Let's see. Our school is located in two places.
You have to.
Okay. Are you establishing those two places, or have you established that there are two places and now created two extra blanks for people?
It's just, you can't make a wish for more wishes.
I mean, you can.
So one of the places that it exists is and it exists in both places simultaneously. I should point out that it is not at like there are two locations. It is that it exists in both places. So one of the places that it exists is essentially what looks like a mountainous rolling region that is the back of the dead Titan Gaia. And that is one of the places that this place exists. But if you don't have any of either the what the initial wizards and warlocks call the atom spark, the beginning spark, then you can't see it. So it is part of your blood and everything like that allows you to interact and see magical things. And some people can kind of interact with it, kind of see it a little bit. But for the most part, this island in the Mediterranean is very much outside of the hearts, eyes, minds, and being of most mortal creatures.
That's right. Stealth school, baby.
Okay. So you've established us in the Mediterranean, in Gaia's Spine Mountains, and what was the second place called? You said
Oh,
it's
the
in
second
two
place?
places, yeah.
Oh, the second place is actually where, because again, it exists in both places at once, but the second place is actually in the, so Morgana Le Fay was actually never defeated. She was kind of forced into a magical stasis coma, and it exists in part of her nightmares, which actually amplifies the ability for students to learn because this place is so permeating with magic and the ability to kind of bend reality around itself. So it almost acts as a supercharger.
Not gonna remember any of this.
Nope. Okay.
Should have just said one place. You should have limited me to one place.
Okay, it was kind of assumed.
It was definitely assumed.
Let's see. Craig.
I figure if I throw too many bad
next?
guys at George, he can only pick one.
Oh, yeah.
Or all of them.
Okay,
Or
sure.
Sinister Six is us. What are we talking about here? Okay. Let's see. Should have read these before.
Yeah.
What do they mean they are best known for? Like the head of the school or the school or
That is the head of the school. What is the head of the school best known for?
Oh, cool. Like
That's cool.
their signature move, like the spirit bomb?
Up to you. Could be a signature move. Could be a discovery. Could be something that he is particularly skilled in magically. Could be a champion hot dog eating contest he won.
That sounds pretty Beelzebummy.
Joey Chestnut is our...
Okay. Let's see. So the head of our school is Bernard Beelzebum. They are best known for their ability to create like
Hot dogs.
hot dogs was where I was going to go with that. With their ability to create like legacy magic artifacts, which is a unique aspect because they are able to do so by using the culmination of differing magics that culminate at this school, as well as Morgana's essence itself, which is a dangerous and questionable activity in the wizard and witch community, because it has such dire potential and dangers that come with it. But Beelzebum seems to have a good hand on it and makes a splash in the wizard and witch community through his knack and ability to do so.
Okay. So, what exactly does legacy artifact mean? What does the legacy mean?
The legacy is in reference to the origin of magic, the days of old when an individual would manifest themselves into a giant abomination and be able to return back to their normal form, whereas a more traditional wizard and witch in current day could turn into a cat, or could turn into an owl, or could turn into like a little monkey. The amount of power and magic brought into spells is something that people are unfamiliar with these days, but they're legends, they're legacies of the history of magic that has disappeared into the annals of time. Some may believe they are myths, but the culmination of the magic here allows for the replication of that kind of thing that your average wizard and witch couldn't possibly do. So another means that it could be used is a focal point of magic to allow manifestation of free-flowing water in a town, in a Wizard in Witch community. A utilization of a magical spell that normally would be able to close wounds might be able to outright regrow body parts, things like that. Goes beyond what is deemed the limitation of traditional magics.
Okay.
Neat.
Nice.
All right. Kate, what have you got for me?
Oh no.
Everybody's too enraptured in the one before them to actually think ahead, which is fine. Which is perfect.
I'm gonna start reading now. I'm gonna ignore everything everybody says now.
Okay. A notable landmark in the school
Okay.
is this. It's like, do I want it to be? Okay. Wait, too much pressure.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's a naturally existing, like, I don't want to say fountain, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Font.
Sure, but maybe it's almost like a little hot spring or something.
Ooh.
But it was, so they intentionally like built part of the school around this thing to protect it, because the idea is like no one can use it because it is just like pure magic from the source.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a vein. And if you go and use it, you just get like bonkers magical power.
Okay.
And if it's like destroyed, it kind of upsets the balance, you know, of like magic in the world.
Okay, so it's leyline font. What do you prefer?
Yeah.
Thank you, Guido, for that.
Yeah, some kind of, like a ley line.
I'm gonna go to that place.
Notable. Oh my god.
The bonkers magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna swim in that.
Well, it's like really, really heavily guarded.
Yeah, it's a concentrated dose. I'm in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, okay.
Put
well,
it in
I'm
my
just...
veins. Gotta bottle that stuff up.
All right.
So what is
Sorry,
the
George.
name of this ley line?
Okay, it is
Ooh.
called the. It's called the ley line.
Ooh.
Oh, it's nice being on the other side of asking for names.
Sometimes you just gotta go with the simple approach, unlike somebody in here.
Okay.
We're balancing each other out, Rich.
What?
Okay. So, Rich.
All right, so one of our favorite pastimes is known as the shifting hunt. And it is a combination of polymorph self and tag.
How about hang on now.
Oh.
There are 2 blanks there. You only get to fill in one of them.
Oh. Then polymorphing. There you go. That's the one I want.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then whoever does the last one gets to define how they're going to work together.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that one's a loaded gun now.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Cool. So let's see. So we have one of our favorite pastimes is a magical combination of polymorph and now I have tag in my head. I have nothing but tag. Polymorph and
Kickbox.
Horrifying.
the problem is I got to make this make sense, right? I mean, we have to play in this world.
Yeah, I know.
You
That's
don't
why I
have
was
to
like,
do that
tag
blank.
makes sense.
You don't
Yeah,
have
can
to
just
do that
another
blank.
one.
That's true.
Also, the
Just let it come back
Mama.
to Rich.
The numbers,
I'll leave it to New
Naveen,
Mama.
the Bean, were just numbers that everybody picked some kind of significance for them, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, mine is the date of my son's birth. So it's a good number
and
for
it's
me.
my birthday too.
It
Very
is that as
significant
well.
to George, your birthday.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
right.
Indeed. Indeed.
So, yes, so everybody got a chance to pick them because I figured, they're trading cards. It's a good thing to do. Anyway, that gave you a little bit of time there, Craig.
I was too busy listening to you. Your melodic voice, it just lures me into a false sense of security.
Yes, my dulcet tones as
Yes.
I
There
speak
it goes again.
nonsense.
There it goes again. He's got a spell on me.
His thrall.
Because it's kids
It's
on
strong.
Brooms. Let's see. So I will go for one of our most famous alumni was Reginald Kensington.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's all I get.
Yeah.
Softball.
Okay. Kate.
All right. One of the most unconventional classes we have at the school is
It gets
Oh,
harder
heck.
when it gets to the end. Everybody
It
left
does.
these for a reason.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait, hang on, hold on. I swore I was like, I'm gonna just go through these first thing that comes to mind.
What's coming to your mind? Is it pink elephants?
No, like the first thing that came to mind was like home ec. So because you have this school of magic, and then they're like, no, you're gonna learn how to sew, and you're gonna learn how to cook, and
Right.
you know what I mean?
Living as a mortal 101.
And do your taxes. So
I mean, that's fair. I still would like to know how to do my taxes.
yeah, right. You gotta have a balance.
So,
What
So
world
that's
do
my
you wanna
answer.
live in? Home ec.
Mortal Economics.
Yeah.
Mortal economics.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, what is the favorite topic that's covered in Mortal Economics? The favorite topic of the students.
That's a really good question.
Uh-oh.
Why'd you have to like? I already answered my question, George.
Always with the follow-ups. Always with the follow-ups.
That's how I don't have to do work in creating the story.
Oh, I see. You're cashing it in. Second live stream. And
Regret
just kick back
everything.
the feet. Julep. Yeah, look at him. All his books.
Yeah, I know. Look at him. I would say that the favorite specific class is they really get a kick out of like I'm stuck on taxes.
Taxes.
Money
because
is
it just
wild.
it's such
so
a
funny,
mysterious thing that they feel like there has to be some kind of magical core, some spell that is working within the tax system in order to keep it all running, and that if they can just study it enough, they can unlock it.
Unlock the potential of taxes.
I mean, it was either that or like walking, because they're probably like, oh, we have brooms. Mortals use their feet, but walking isn't a class, only for babies. So let's go with taxes.
Okay, and what is the teacher's name?
Oh my God, George!
I mean, I have to milk this.
It's just built in there. It's packed in
It's-
tight. You didn't see all
it's-
the other questions in between those questions. Yeah, this is why I like
That's
asking
how do you
what
pronounce
names are.
that? Is that
Wait,
two
wait, wait,
B-R-H?
Spell that one
Wait,
out.
wait. Melinda
Mm.
Cosgrove.
Okay, Melinda Cosgrove, the professor of immortal economics with a specialty in tax
Accounting.
theory.
Accounting. Yeah, or tax theory. That's so much better.
Is it?
It is.
I'd like to see all that written out here. I'm not sure where on the writing
Yeah,
line
sure.
is. I'm not.
We know in our heart of hearts.
All right, Rich. It says come back around to you. You can. All right.
You
So,
son of a.
How
Worth the
do
payoff.
polymorph and tag combine?
Do I get to say that now?
Yes. These
Yeah,
are your
awesome.
follow-up
God,
questions.
here.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. All right. So, well, no, it's nice and easy. So basically, you're inside of a stadium that's constantly, through geomancy, it's constantly morphing into different,
Oh my God.
what's it called? Like kind of habitats or biomes. So it'll go from like being desert to craggy to foresty to swampy. And the whole thing is that most people can only turn into, like, even people who are really good at like polymorphing can only really manage like maybe like 4 or 5 forms. If you're like really good, then you might be able to get like 6. But either way, if all of a sudden you are thrown a bunch of different things, it's hard to plan for every situation. Also, there's a light in the middle and it switches. So whatever team is tagging can switch at almost a moment's notice. So when you're ready to strike, you have to be ready to strike and catch that person, because then they might be the person that's going to tag and they'll change into a predatory animal and you have to get away.
Now translate this
Literally.
into the game, George. If you'd be so kind, I would like to know.
I mean, it's just tag.
I'd like to know that.
Well, no, he has just established an important magical fact here, and that is that people can only polymorph into a number of shapes. So from now on, whenever you guys use a polymorph effect, we're going to be keeping track of those effects and what you've turned into.
Ooh.
Now, what is the name of this sport?
Oh yeah.
The
said
shifting
that.
hunt.
Yeah, you got
The
that.
shifting
right.
hunt, right? You already got that. And, okay, so is this a professional sport, or is this something that
yeah.
they do for fun?
This is our
Okay.
Quidditch,
It's
baby.
both. It's both, because it teaches kids basically interacting with the world and changing things around you with magic is fairly advanced, but changing magic within yourself is actually a little bit easier because it's already there. You already have the atom and the mana within yourself. And so manipulating yourself to make yourself maybe a little bit stronger or to transform yourself is actually, even as though it seems fantastical, is actually a more basic and primal form of magic. So it is something that, like, there's Little League, like, where they have like, oh, you have a cat and a dog, and that's all the kids do, and they just run around as cats and dogs, and it's very cute and precious, and everyone laughs at the puppies and kittens chasing each other. But as you get older, much like any other sport, there are complete professionals who have like, oh, that's Zygon the all-powerful, or oh, that's Tamir the wise, and he has 12 forms, and 2 of them are a gorilla. Like, it's amazing. Like,
Okay, so then you jumped ahead to my next follow-up question, which was going to be, who are the star players or teams?
yeah, so there's Tamir the wise.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally.
He has like a complete like cloak line and everything like that. Like, they don't change much
Sure.
about it, but like you get the cloaks and stuff like that. It has
if
like
you
a
want
symbol
the
on it.
best, you get his.
Yeah,
you get
exactly.
his.
It looks really good, so like people like to get it. And his branding was on point. He's a very nice guy, and he really
Clean.
just put himself out there. Had a real handle on what is it, tax theory. So
Nice. Good
You're
for
a real
him.
jerk if you don't support Tamir. Honestly, you can
All
tell
right.
what kind of wizard.
yeah,
you
he does
are.
a lot of stuff for.
You can really tell.
Yeah. And then the professional sports teams are named things, like the Salem Griffins and the Blood Moon Rising, stuff like that. Stuff that is either horrifying or just sounds fearsome.
Okay. All right, we'll go with that. Craig, you're up.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good. But we only have 2 left, huh?
We only have 2 left.
Cool.
You better not make me pick another class. Is all I have to say.
You want the other class? Okay,
No!
okay, cool. Kensington. What is he best known for?
No.
No. One of the most unconventional classes we have at school is spirit manifestation.
Ooh.
Okay. And what is unconventional about spirit manifestation?
The study and process of manifesting spirits has the dangerous potential of the spirit overpowering you.
Okay.
So
And
you would be locked away within your own body, allowing another spirit to live out its existence.
okay, so it's less unconventional and more skirting the line of what's accepted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Who teaches this class?
I mean, we all know them.
Mhm.
They are Professor. Sorry, I looked at chat and I was
Yeah, the chat is really
tempted.
helping.
I'm badly
Yes, I
tempted
can
by
see
do it.
that.
Professor.
Here,
Here,
know.
All right, Megiddo.
Professor.
Yep, we
Uh,
got the community reference in here.
Here,
already.
chat. Give me a letter. Just give me like a random letter. A letter in the alphabet.
What other kind of letters are there?
Q.
Rose really wants us
Q
to use
and P.
Prinsky somewhere.
Okay. So, Professor Quilliam, Polgenstrom. Quilliam Polgenstrom.
Nice.
Okay. And who is his favorite student in the class?
Questions out of nowhere to torture us, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Although this one was actually suggested in the book as a question.
Ah.
His favorite student is Quilliam Jr. His own son, who's in
Nepotism.
the school.
What a
Nepotism.
nerd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. And final question.
Oh, crap.
What is the worst that class has ever gone wrong?
Oh, the worst thing.
Yo,
that
I
that
have an
class has
answer
ever
for
gone
this,
wrong.
but
Hmm?
There was a class that it was believed that there was an almost full possession in one class, and the faculty responded, as you are one to do when there is a spirit possession that takes place, because though it is possible that there are peaceful and helpful spirits out there, more often than not, a spirit that has been taken from its previous place and brought back into existence usually does not come in such a comfortable manner as it has been pulled, which usually the process is for the sake of discovering pieces of history, new annals of time, new spells, curiosities that help to progress the culture of magic in general. But in that time, when a near full class was possessed, the faculty, they believe, was able to stop the completed possession of the full class. And it has been reported since then that it has been handled appropriately.
One more horrifying
great.
thing that you guys have added to this
okay.
world. We have multiple dark timelines. We have absorption of magical energies from creatures. We have a dead titan that forms a mountain range. We have spirit possessions.
Yeah, it's magic, baby. Come on.
Yeah.
but we also have polymorph and tag.
That's true.
Which is
yeah.
probably
Oh.
worse. All right. How many times?
You know
How
how to
many
have fun.
times have people gotten stuck in their polymorphed form while
Oh,
playing
come on.
the Shifting Hunt?
So with Shifting Hunt, I feel like it's more of a thing where when you push your body too far, you really what the danger of polymorphing is you forget your original form, kind of
Mhm.
a thing. And that's not completely. So what you'll see is with a lot of older Shifting Hunt members is they won't necessarily not look completely like themselves, but they'll have pieces of themselves that aren't quite human, like crocodile eyes or scales, or like just a really big like chimpanzee arm, stuff like that.
You made this so much worse than I was leading you to.
I feel like that's pretty cool. I would love to have a chimpanzee arm.
Yeah, you could have been like, polymorphic is like running a race, and when you get tired, you can't run anymore. You were like, no, you come back with defects. You got scales.
Well,
now.
you have a certain amount of forms that you have, and if you push that, you start to eat away at your own, not soul and mind humanity, but your body's humanity.
It's gonna so rapidly become a furry adventure.
Okay. So, Kate.
I am actually super ready for the last one because I'm going to take a...
hang on, I'm going to change that question quickly.
Stop, George!
Okay.
So mean to me! I am going to take Megiddo's lead from earlier. Megiddo, I saw your message and I was like, oh, that's actually outstanding. So here's what Reginald is most popular for. He's laughing. He essentially is this world's Sacha Baron Cohen. So he did his own version of like Borat, but he went and like was part of the mortals and was like, I'm gonna be immortal, and just like made fun of people. And it was this hugely popular TV show for all the wizards and witches and everything, and it still has like a legacy to this day. You know, people have tried to like recreate it, but it's like you always go back to the original seasons because he was just like, he originated it and he was the funniest.
So he would like go to mortals and be like, how do you turn a doorknob?
And like
what?
they're just like, huh? Oh, sure. And all the witches are like, haha, idiot human mortals.
And then, what is the name of this show?
Oh my god.
I mean, you had to know I was going to ask.
I know. I don't know why let's see. The name is going to be the mortal dilemma. No, that's a little too like, that's not lighthearted enough. Mingling with the mortals. I like that, Walrus. Mingling with the mortals.
I like that too.
That's
But
so
is the show meant to be completely making fun of mortals, or is it more like we're missing the point and it's like this is how people live and we're just classist jerks?
Well, you know, I think it might be a combination of both. So like they have the segments where he goes out on the field and he's like, how do I use a bike? You know, and like, it's like, haha, look at these mortals trying to teach him. But then in other segments, it's like he goes with an assignment of something he has no idea how to do for reals. You know. And
our most famous alumni is the magical Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, you're right. We need some lighthearted content in this world.
Or Ashton Kutcher. And it's like, you got morted. Am I getting morted? Is this real?
Yes!
Right.
Yeah. That's the catchphrase.
Okay. Then I guess we have established our world.
Ooh.
Our school is called Pigzit. Pigzit.
Oh, I see what you did.
Do you?
Do you?
Do you?
Because I don't.
That's
Pigzit.
good. That's
Oh,
good.
well, I mean,
What? Yeah, he said that.
yeah, I did say that.
But I'm
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Just keep going. Just keep
keep
going.
the insanity
Whatever.
internal, kid.
Whatever.
It exists in two places simultaneously, a mountain range on the dead titan Gaia's spine, and the nightmare of Morgan Le Fay. The head of our school is Bernard Beelzebum, and they are best known for their creation of legacy artifacts.
I mean,
I can't
he
read.
started
This is a little known
hesitating.
fact. One of our favorite pastimes is a magical combination of polymorph and tag called the Shifting Hunt. One of our famous alumni was Reginald Kensington, best known for the show Mingling with Mortals. One notable landmark in the school is the obelisk. Petrified Pete, a locus of magical energy, where once a terrible ritual was enacted and failed. Another notable landmark is the ley line, a concentrated force of pure magical energy, which can grant intense magical powers, but at a terrifying cost. One of the most unconventional classes we have is Mortal Economics, which many of our students take for their fascinating study of tax theory. And, of course, the class in Spirit Manifestation, a class largely whispered of, as it constantly skirts the line of being banned from the school. With that in mind, we have our world, and it's time to make our characters.
Cool.
So, does everybody have their character sheet?
No.
Sure do.
What? Huh?
Your character sheet?
Yeah.
Which,
Oh,
But where would that be?
We literally.
oh, Rich, that would be in the link that I sent in the Zoom long ago.
That makes sense. No, that checks out.
All right.
Just do everybody else first.
Everybody's going at the same time, man. We don't have 5 hours for this. So,
I'll just write.
the way that this system works is you have 6 possible stats. You have fight, flight, brains, brawn, zoom, charm, and grit. In each one of these, you are going to assign one of your die types. So that's your dice going from D4 to D20. So D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, and D20.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Whenever
yeah, I
you are
already know
forced
what
to
I'm doing.
make one of those checks, that is the die you will roll. So, if you put a D4 in something, you can only roll a D4 in order to try to accomplish it. Whereas if you have a D20, you have a much wider range of what you can get. However, the benefits of smaller dice is that if you ever roll the maximum number on one of the dice, you take that number, you roll again, and then you add the results together. And you keep going until you stop rolling the maximum. So that D4 now has a 1 in 4 chance of exploding, possibly leading to fantastic outcomes. And yes,
Ooh.
it's clearly going to be Rich will saves. I don't know if he saw it, but
What?
yes.
Yeah,
The one that
What am I
goes
doing?
full charmer.
which is good because I went full brains.
Just gonna put my D4 there.
All right. Who has anybody finished their 6 numbers yet?
I just started staring at my screen.
Okay.
And it just.
I did.
All right. Kate, what are your stats?
Okay, so my D20 is in brains because I decided I'm going to play a super bookish nerd. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at you. No, it's great. Go on, please. You're doing well. You're doing great.
My D12 is in grit because I figure like she's resilient. She's, based on like her life. She's just, right? Does that add up? Like resiliency being in grit?
Yeah.
Okay. My D10 is in flight. She may be resilient, but she's also a little skittish. My D8 is charm. My D6 is fight, and my D4 is brawn.
Okay. Rich, Craig, have either of you finished?
No.
All right, then I guess I'll give a rundown of what these stats are. It's probably fairly explanatory, but brains is how book smart you are. Brawn is how much brute strength your character has. Fight is how good you are at fighting. Flight is how good you are at evading their problems, both literally and figuratively. So your ability to dodge around a question would also be flight. Charm is how socially adept you are, and grit is how hard it is to break a character, emotionally or physically.
Rough.
Did that stall long enough for either Craig
I
or
finished.
Rich? Okay. Rich, what's your breakdown?
I have fight D10, flight D20, brawn D8, brain D4. I'm here on a sports scholarship for sure. But I try. Charm D12 and grit D6.
Okay. That brings us down to Craig. You had 6 things to choose. You had 6 numbers to assign.
That's true. That's true. And I did it. And
Did you?
this is what it is. Get
Mhm.
ready. This is what I did, which you're going to hear right now, which I just want to let you know is going to happen at this time. Okay, so I chose a D12 for my fight. I chose a D6 for my flight. I chose a God, I'm reading my numbers now. I did a D4 for my brains. I did a D8 for my brawn, a D20 for my charm, and a D10 for my grit.
Nice.
Yep, there we go. There's our
Very
charmy
nice.
boy.
What am I?
Okay. Next
its
thing
own
that you
pretty
should
boy.
choose is what is your grade? Are you an underclass student, 14 or younger, an upper class student, 15 to 20 years old, or are you faculty, 21 years or older?
Is this our trope? Is that what this is?
No, this is your... We're ignoring tropes. You're going to be building your characters from scratch.
Oh.
I'm
This
going to
is-
be upper class. I'm going to be 18.
And this is your grade, Craig. There's a field
Okay,
that
this is
says
my
grade.
Okay. And the options again, I'm sorry, just once more because my brain doesn't work good.
Underclass, 14 or younger. Upper class, 15 or higher. 15 to 20. Or faculty, 21 or older.
I'm going to do underclass.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I'll do
Rich,
underclass.
what were you?
I was gonna choose underclass, but now
You can all be... You don't
can
have to
all
be one of
Be
each.
an underclass with me.
However, yes, Megiddo Rich could be the PE teacher.
could be the PE teacher. I had big dreams, but now I'm teaching you.
I apologize if
Continue
anyone
to
in our
enjoy our-
audience teaches PE.
Oh no, yeah, I've had lots of great PE teachers, but you know, you also have the ones that are like,
Now, in the mortal world, it's a great achievement. In the wizard world, teaching physical ability,
Yeah.
probably you're like, I don't need this. This is an elective. And, like,
I feel real stupid. Someone punches you in the face. Nah, I'm
Right.
I'm gonna be an underclassman.
yeah.
Well, now I'm going to be underclass.
No,
too.
you're not. You're an upper class.
It
I
is
don't
your
have the power to
choice.
stop you. I don't have the power to stop you.
You know what? I'll be upper class, but I'll be 15. I'll be like right on the line.
Ah.
So you're gonna
Okay.
be like you kids, and we're gonna be like you're like 6 months older than us.
You're
Yeah.
like the kid in Kids Next Door that's like, no, I'm still an agent. But really,
Yeah.
they're like totally stopping the kids next door. I get you.
Okay,
I'm on to you.
so underclassmen, give yourself a +1 in charm and flight.
Well, yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Wait, where are we putting that? What?
You're an underclassman, so you.
Oh, I'm
know
sorry.
You'll see, if you look in the stats section, you will see a stat section, a little stat line, and you'll add your little +1 there if I tell you to. So underclassmen, you got that in flight and charm. Upperclassmen, you get brawn and fight.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
oh. You weren't going to be faculty
Whammy.
anyway.
And faculty would get brains and grit. Anyway. So, underclassmen,
deal.
in
Yes.
your strengths section, you will get innocence.
Perfect.
And upperclassmen, you will get trained in,
Oh, Bob.
and then you get to choose one area of magic. Then, if you all who have the book turn to page 90,
Yes.
it will tell you what these do. Innocence, for you underclassmen, allows you to spend 2 adversity tokens to convince an adult to not get you in trouble for a minor transgression.
Oh, that's great.
That sounds important.
And trained in, you choose one type of magic, and you gain +1 in all spells of that type. The types of magic correspond with your stats. So there is fight magic, flight magic, brains, brawn, charm, and grit. Instead of having spells, you determine the effect that you want to enact, and then it will get assigned to one of these stats, depending on what you're trying to do, and that will determine what you roll.
Oh, boy.
So now, you should all have the book open to page 90. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. You will see a list of more strengths. You're going to pick 2 of these for your character. Strengths are, for you people watching, are special little perks that they're going to have that help round out their character. So, innocence and the trained in. Those are 2 examples. You could also be lucky, which allows you to re-roll dice. You could be gifted, where anytime you roll a check that involves magic, you can re-roll it by spending adversity tokens. These are effectively small perks that allow them to further customize their character, to build them out into whatever strange thing they might have been coming up with.
Oh, God.
And is hiding a sheep in the professor's cupboard a minor infraction? Well, it depends.
Great question.
Was that sheep at one point somebody playing the shifting hunt? If so, then it is probably a major infraction. Otherwise, yes, definitely minor. Okay. Who's coming along with that, with those strengths?
I don't see them in this
Page 90.
Page 90,
Of the book.
which will not be the same as the PDF page, I think.
Oh, yes, it will. Oh, yeah. The page to link to type to it, no, that will not be page 90. No, yeah, actually it will, but it's page 90 or 95.
Okay.
How big were the hijinks that Fred and George got into? Well, I would
ones?
say those are well beyond minor infractions.
Oh, this is so much better.
Okay. Have you found it, Kate?
Yes.
Okay. Has anybody chosen a strength?
So what is with skilled at? Could I be like skilled at polymorphing? Or would it have to be a specific stat?
Let's see. Skilled at. Skilled at. Choose a skill, GM's discretion. You are assumed to succeed when making even moderately difficult checks involving this skill. If the GM determines that you do need to roll for a more difficult check, add up to +3 to your roll. So you could, yeah, I'd say that you could do that as polymorphing specifically.
Nice.
I would say, Megiddo, that there are probably minor hijinks, major hijinks, severe hijinks, and then ones that actually get you punished. Craig.
Man, these are such good strengths. I don't know whether. I mean, I chose one of my strengths already.
What have you chosen, Craig?
Oh, we have more than one?
You
I've
get
chosen-
2.
I've chosen easygoing. Gain 2
Easygoing.
adversity tokens when you fail a check.
Yes. So adversity tokens are a mechanic that allow you to benefit from your failures. Whenever you fail a check, you get 1 adversity token. Later on, you can spend those adversity tokens in order to add +1. You can spend an adversity token to add +1 per token to your roll. You can also use them to enact some of these effects. The 4 levels of hijinks: minor, major, severe, and you just broke 13 international wizarding laws. Yes.
I chose Guardian and Resilient.
Guardian. When defending another player or NPC, always roll both your stat die and the magic die and add them together. Interesting, even if you're not using magic to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Resilient. So that lets me use when I boost a check against a spell that targets me, each adversity token is worth +2 instead of +1.
Okay. Very nice. That Harry Potter meme of why is it always you three is going to apply to these three so very much. You are correct, Megiddo.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to be just
There is
the
zero
most straight
question.
and narrow of students. We're just.
Well, I am.
I'm just going to go to class. That's going to be what this whole stream is just George having to teach us magic classes.
Really boring
Hey,
stream.
Yeah.
I am all for God, I shouldn't even say this. I should say that I'm all for improvising a magic lesson for 2 hours.
Well,
because
here's the problem. You don't get to, because we're going to mortal economics.
I could talk about tax theory.
Excellent.
You forget.
Perfect.
You forget who I am.
By the
This was
way,
actually
I
a
don't
trick just to teach it.
I don't know if it was mentioned, but everyone should take a look. RPG Blender has some pretty cool channel rewards now that apply. Because I don't think it was said, and they're excellent and can be used on the game.
That is true. There will be roles coming later when they need to determine their relationship questions. So if you were to use that loaded die, you could force them to get a certain die roll.
Part is so
And
fun.
yes, but the baby check.
Yeah, there is a baby check.
As he is
man.
currently... Oh, he's apparently decided to roll over, so there we go.
Oh, we missed it.
Well... Yep. All right.
Aw.
How are those strengths coming?
I'm gonna take Wild Speak, steering
Wild
all the way into it.
Look at you.
And what does Wild Speak do?
I can communicate with any animal whose species I have knowledge of. So if it's a brand new creature, I'll be like, I don't know what that is or how to talk to it. But if it's something that's, common enough for me to be like, yeah, I know what that is, then I can talk to it.
Okay. And how do you gain knowledge of a new creature?
I take out a small. Okay, no.
No. That is. Okay, we don't need to talk about how you eat its heart and then.
Oh, I was going with a Pokemon reference, but that's fine too. Sure.
Oh, right.
Catch it in
Dark.
your magical wizarding ball. Bring it back to the obelisk where you can draw its power into your magical not Pokédex in order to get its entry.
Just pulls us out of his butt. And I am choosing easygoing and intuitive.
Easygoing and intuitive. Okay, we know what easygoing does, but what does intuitive do?
Intuitive is you can spend 1 adversity token to ask the GM about your surroundings, an NPC, or the like. The GM must answer honestly.
Okay.
The game actually built in a mechanic for me to ask George odd questions that he has to answer honestly. I love this game.
It's perfect.
Oh, I should have edited the PDF.
Nope, that's good. That's
Okay.
real good.
Mistakes were made. All right. Now, if you go to page 89,
I knew we were going back.
of course, you will see a list of flaws.
How many we got to take?
2. You must have 2 flaws.
How many are
These-
there?
These flaws are not as mechanically complex as the strengths. Instead, they are simply a generic descriptor that, if it applies to a scenario, will cause you to have a more difficult time. Things like blunt, dishonest, hot-headed, naive, or timid.
Oof. I am. You can roll die 20 if you want to have a lot of fun, everybody.
Wait. Do we want to do that, or do we want to choose? I
I'm
think if we-
choosing.
Okay, there we go. We're choosing.
I rolled a
seems
die
like
20.
it. Of course.
Well-
Well, I mean, but you do everything random, so...
That is true.
And I already
Actually,
have an idea of my character and how she is, so if I
you
rolled,
got a vision. You got a vision.
Yeah, I have a
You
vision.
do your
Alright,
vision.
somebody-
I always have a vision.
hey chat, go ahead and roll. 2 of you roll a die 20, and let's see what we get. and then I'll
I should
choose
make
between
that a
the two of
command
those.
for you, George.
Oh,
You
I,
should-
I have plans with that. Don't
Yes.
you worry.
Oh, we got a 14.
Got a 14. And what's the next one?
Yeah, let's get a roll from someone else.
One more
Oh,
roll.
no.
Who's going to be
Oh,
the one
no.
to supply the second number to
Why
make
am I
this
wait- why am I
monstrosity
waiting
of
for this? I should be
Rich?
doing my own.
Well, I'm gonna choose. I'm keeping one of the ones that I rolled, and then I'm gonna take one of these two that we get.
And what are these? These are flaws.
Flaws.
Where's
And
All
a
right,
9.
Walrusy?
Walrus eye.
Walrus Eye?
Just
the
call him
plural of
walrus.
9. All right. Which is oof. All right. So I got the R&R, which is I am rash and reckless.
Well,
Oh my
that's
god.
pretty much perfect, isn't it? Practically
rate
perfect
these? I
in
don't-
every way.
I don't see flaws. I don't see flaws on the sheet.
Um,
Am I crazy?
it's just like
Or
a
is it just like a-
table.
Or is it just a description? It's just a description.
No,
I
it's
guess,
on
right?
PG-9.
He's looking.
No,
for it
but on the
actual-
character sheet.
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sorry.
character
No,
sheet.
it's I don't. I wrote
just
them on
fill
the
it in
bottom of my
wherever you can.
strengths.
Your
Oh,
dice
well.
have killed me.
I am going to be.
Oh, Beck has redeemed baby check. So
Yay!
he's currently a bit fussy. So we'll see.
Uh-oh.
That means he's
how this
moving.
lasts.
Oh,
There is the baby check.
God. Look at
Nailed
him
it.
go.
Yep. Now that is distracting everybody.
Oh, Munchkin.
What were your flaws, Kate and Craig?
So I feel like I went easy on myself, but I picked ones that like suit her. So I went with clumsy and conspicuous.
You did not go easy on yourself. No.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah, conspicuous. I
feel
cannot
like
hide.
clumsy. Clumsy is also So like you literally cannot hide, and it's like, all right, here's the pit of doom.
I mean, I love it. It's great. It's great.
Fall into pit of doom.
All right, everybody, just stay along the edge. Oh, there she goes.
Oh.
And I agree, Will Saves. He definitely wants to be in the game. There's no question about that.
Why is he crying?
He doesn't want to sleep because he wants to stay up and play.
Of
But he
course.
cannot.
Those he's a baby.
He knows tomorrow is Halloween. Craig.
Well, before I choose the one that I was going to choose, I do have to ask George.
Mhm.
Most of these I understand. One of them says cursed.
That would apply basically any time that you're relying on luck.
Oh. Ooh.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Okay. You know what?
Oof. Going full long bottom.
Aw.
I am
He was the best.
cocky and cursed.
Hockey
Cool.
and cursed. Oh my gosh, this is
so cool.
this is awful.
Baby wants to be the mortal economics professor.
One day. One day.
Mhm.
All right. Then the next part is very difficult. I'm aware that this is difficult, but you're going to have to get through it, and it is to give your character a name.
I already have my name picked out.
Oh my
I have
gosh.
mine already picked out.
Oh my gosh. All right, Kate, what's your
Rich?
name?
My name is Amelia Gershwin.
Okay. Write that down.
He's like, oh, they actually have it ready. I should probably get my notes out. It's time to.
Oh my
okay,
God,
okay,
Rose.
okay.
You know what? Actually, I'm sorry. My name is Amelia Prinsky. There you go, Rose.
So is
Really pushing
Gershwin
that
like a
Prinsky
middle name
agenda,
then?
huh?
Yeah,
Amelia
Amelia
Gershwin
Gershwin
Prinsky.
Prinsky. That's actually,
Wow,
I like
middle
that.
name. Okay.
Yeah, get on my level, nerds.
Okay. Craig?
Hurts a bit, but that's okay. My character's name is Barnabas William Pock.
Barnabas William Puck?
Pock. P-O-C-K.
Oh, he's chewing on the blanket.
That would be
Oh,
his
he's
lovey.
chewing on the blanket.
Yes. It's got a little monkey head or something.
I love him.
Okay. Rich?
My name is Desmond Dilliant.
Wow, I'm so
Desmond
proud of
Dilliant.
us.
I'm surprised only one of you went with the alliteration.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Then we continue.
Yeah, you
The
really
next
thought that was going to be a
part
slowdown, huh?
is we need to think about how we are related to the other characters at the table.
Oh yeah, this is where it slows down.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, Kate,
Mhm.
how does Amelia know Barnabas? And I guess Barnabas, you can chime in here too.
My friends
that's
call me
true.
Barney.
Oh, nice. You're like you're like you're like outgoing, right?
Yeah, I'm probably a class clown.
Okay.
You know, I definitely go about sort of like making jokes in classes and stuff, and then something explodes in my face, and everybody laughs. And
How
I'm
are your
like, well,
grades? Like, do you not really try? Kind of like you just get by. This is important for me to know.
I'm probably like C grade and
Uh-huh.
getting lower, but
Okay.
like I'm not impressing anybody, but I'm also not disappointing my parents yet.
Okay,
Nice.
so I'm gonna go with.
That's the Goldilocks zone right there.
I'm gonna go with like there was one day because normally I just like shake it off if I get like bullied and stuff. I'm just like whatever, I don't care. But they were being like relentless one day, and you were just like, hey, knock it off. Like you stood up for me, and I was like, hey, you're pretty cool, and I offered to like help you with your classwork or something. Maybe in sort of an obnoxious and almost forceful way. Like, no, you could do better, and we're going to help you do better.
And then I was like, I don't need to do better. I'll be fine. And then after one failing test, I came back and I was like, I failed. Can you help me?
Yeah, there we go. Sweet.
Okay.
Yes. And so she became my tutor.
And what about Amelia and Desmond? How do you two know each other?
What's your deal?
So far I know that I am rash and reckless, and I can talk to animals and really like polymorphing.
So you're like the weird kid.
Sky's the limit. Yeah, he's definitely.
I mean, since I'm
he's
polymorphing,
actually
I'm
the
probably
jock.
closer to like a jock. Yeah.
Oh, so you're okay.
Because that's the sport in this world. So
Yeah, but you talk to animals.
Yeah, to figure out how to better use
Although-
octopus arms.
Yeah, and also I guess in the wizard world, maybe
Gotta
that's
get in
like a
their
really
heads.
cool thing. Yeah, especially with our sport being like polymorphing and stuff.
It's like the steroids of polymorphing.
I could also
you
be a
know?
weird
They're
jock.
Like, he's
There's a
been
lot of
talking
ways.
to that
No,
squirrel
it's
the
okay.
whole day. He knows the game.
Clearly, I'm just gonna like lean into the whole like bullying thing. So you've been one of my bullies, but
That makes
I've
sense.
just
You're an
been like,
upperclassman. I got to make a name for myself. You suck.
yeah,
It's not my fault. You suck.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
maybe like you have it like it's almost like frustrating. Like I haven't let you really get under my skin. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. So you keep trying to bully me, and it's formed this almost friendship because of it.
Wait until I learn how to make an ink sac. We'll see.
Like an unspoken friendship. Okay, well,
Sorry, what?
cool.
okay. And yes, oh baby, looks like he's finally going down in the Superman or Squished
Look
Frog
at
pose.
him. I love that.
All right.
Be related to, what do you say, Walrus?
They wanted you two to be related
He
at
wants
some
us
point.
to be related.
All right.
Hmm.
That would
Barnabas
explain
and,
why I'm ballsy.
Barnabas and Desmond. How do you two know each other?
I'm probably also a polymorpher, but I'm
Nice.
not good at it. But I'm unabashedly like putting it all out there.
His panache is really on point. Like,
Yeah.
he can like glide in on like wings and stuff like that. He looks good, and that is part of the sport, is getting everybody riled up.
When it works, sometimes my birds come out with just one wing, and it's just like, and like but I do it with like full energy, which is hopefully commendable.
Oh,
I
it's-
usually crash into stuff and whatnot, but
It's
you know.
totally commendable, and I feel like I know that you're trying, and also I'm also not sharp, and so I feel like you and me kind of exist. Well, you're very strong in like the physic or like the people. I'm very strong in the physical, but I see that you kind of have the same struggles as me, and so I do identify with you in that way too. Where I'm like, hey, we have things and we make them work, and everyone else is like, and I'm levitating 5 chairs at once, and I'm like, I can make this part of this half of me is an octopus. Is that cool?
Okay. Then before we move on to the actual relationship questions, what is each of your familiar?
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
A monkey.
No, I wanted the monkey. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it so
Would
badly.
you know that's his favorite.
All right, here I'll save you the monkey. I want a
No,
monkey
you got
bird.
it. You got it. You got it. You got the monkey.
I want a monkey bird.
Everybody gets
So
like from
the,
Dark
the
Monkey bird,
familiar
stop
should
it.
be a reflection of some core aspect of your personality.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
This
well,
is
that's
not
different.
just an animal that you chose to have. This is something that bonded with you, and it bonded with you for a reason. Does it reflect something that you've embraced or something that you like about yourself? Or is it a part that you haven't come to terms with? Something that embarrasses or scares you? And it is also encouraged to be something small enough that you can carry it with you.
Yeah.
So, as the book says, a cat is a great choice. A polar bear is not.
No.
I'm gonna pick a raven
Okay?
because there's 2 reasons. One of which is secret, the symbolism of the raven. But reason number 1 is like they're super cool and smart, and like you can teach them to talk and stuff. So I find that like super intriguing, and it's like my little sidekick.
Okay. And what is your familiar's name?
Hang on. Let me look something up.
Okay.
Do
While
they
you're
have to
looking-
be a real creature?
Yes.
Dang.
Yes, it should be a real creature.
All right. No, that's fair. That's fair. It's totally fair.
All right. Rich or Craig, do you have your familiar?
Well, it's not a street shark. No. So.
And I'm afraid
don't.
the baby goes away now. I hope you all enjoyed the visit from the baby.
Bye, little baby.
He goes, finally, to sleep.
Aw.
Mine's actually going to be a badger.
A badger. How big are badgers? Why can I not picture a badger?
Yeah, I
Like
think
a
that's about
European badger, a honey badger, an American badger. What kind?
I would
Also-
imagine it's not a honey badger, but okay. Hey. Yes, they did have fantastic beasts, but let's let them work for those beasts, shall we, Naveen?
Also,
Okay,
my
so we have
raven's
a
name is
badger.
Bill.
Bill Cipher the Raven, and
Yeah.
what is the badger's name?
I named him when I was a kid because obviously you get
Uh-oh.
them fairly young.
Of course.
So I named him Rocks. So
So we have
I
Bill
would
the
name him
Raven,
differently now,
Rocks,
but
Rocks
Rocks.
the badger, and what does Barnabas William Puck have?
He has a monkey. Huh? Huh?
Okay, what
That
aspect
actually fits
of
better.
your
That's good.
personality does
Yeah.
the monkey fit?
Well, part of my personality.
Yes.
Well, the cockiness, of course. Monkeys are so cocky.
Oh, they are.
They're all
They
over
are
the
the
place.
assholes of the jungle.
Yeah, and my
Uh-oh.
character's clearly the asshole of the school.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is
I
your
don't know.
monkey's name?
His name is his name is Mr. Pebbles.
Nice. That's why we're friends.
Rocks and Mr. Pebbles.
Yeah, you
God.
got it.
Do your familiars hate each other secretly?
We probably don't let them hang out too often. I mean, my monkey's probably a terror to other things. You know,
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna
it's
say the
like-
badgers got
It's
similar
like
problem.
it's like a student gives my monkey a food, and I'm like, you shouldn't have done that. And then the monkey eats it and is like, and then like starts hitting them and like stuff. And I'm like, I told you, you opened the gate. So
Okay. Then it is time for everybody's favorite part, the relationship questions. Do you all have your die 20 at the ready?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
All my dice is like behind me. Hang on.
Of course.
Or maybe I have dice in here. Do I?
Well,
By the way, Mr. Pebbles is definitely a capuchin monkey.
okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So while she is finding her dice, would Rich or Craig like to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Rich. Pick either Amelia or Desmond.
All right, we will choose Amelia.
And do you have a mostly positive opinion, a mostly negative opinion, or do you just not really know her well?
I must know her kind of well because I bully her a little bit.
Which, may I say, is funny
Or-
because I believe you also played the bully character when we played Kids on
No, I
Bikes.
played anti-bully. Like
Yeah, he was-
people thought I was
That's
a bully,
true.
but I wasn't. In this world, I am
Okay.
actually a little bit of a
He
bully.
was the bully.
Okay.
I mean, you could go in either direction. You might bully because you don't know her.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
It's
true.
like,
Or
don't
I was
understand.
actually thinking it was probably based on my insecurities because like she's so much smarter than me, and I got to be like, but this is how I'm good.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, is it mostly positive or mostly
I'm gonna say
negative?
positive because I definitely admire how smart she is, but I mostly manifest it in negative ways. But it is a positive opinion.
Okay. Roll that die 20.
It went away, so I have to find it. Okay, 19.
19. You and this character have somewhere secret in the school you go to that you think only the two of you know about. Where is it?
Saucy. Well, this took a turn.
Yeah.
So we go to essentially it's actually not super far from the spire because essentially the spire is where the school started and then it started building out and crumbled and rebuilt and everything like that as ages passed. So we actually found an undercroft not super far from the spire that has a bunch of books that are kind of hard to read, but with the right amount of magics and stuff like that, you can read them. I'm obviously not interested in that. What I am interested in is there a creature called rock grubs there that live almost forever, and they have a very weird way of looking at things. So you can't quite glean information from them, but they'll tell you fantastic stories from kind of the viewpoint of an immortal caterpillar, and I like to go there and talk to them. It's very cathartic for me.
I'm just thrilled that this stream brought out Immortal Caterpillar somehow.
This is why we do it, right?
So then, Kate, because he rolled a positive for you,
Mm-hmm.
for the return question, you will roll a negative. So,
I
drop
do
that
ink you if I can. So
D20.
Oh my god. 12.
12. Oh,
That was barely positive.
12. What forbidden spell do you know this character has been researching?
Ooh.
Word. Let's get weird.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the dumb kid too, so for me to be like, and now,
Yeah. Cosmic power.
I am reckless though. So this
Oh,
does
and
track.
while she's thinking, thank you, Code Monkey, for the follow. Thank you very much. Hope to see you back again.
I am going to say that he is researching. I don't know why I said it like that. Researching.
Getting into character.
Procession.
Like really advanced polymorph. So far beyond animals. Like he's like, no, I want to polymorph into like the mythical creatures I'm reading in these books. And, I want to like get like just top tier stuff going on. But obviously that's super just not accessible and frowned upon and all that
Okay.
good stuff.
So what about it makes it forbidden? Is it just difficult? Is it more dangerous?
I think it's a lot of things. I think difficult, dangerous, and it's also like, it worries people because there's a big difference between, like, oh, I turned into a turtle, and like, oh, I turned into a phoenix that can like,
Level a city.
yeah, like burn down buildings, and so it's just like it's
So,
an
difficult, dangerous, destructive. That sounds like the perfect combination. It's
okay.
got
Well,
three
this is why
Ds.
you're trying to figure out to do it.
I mean, not to mention, I think it was mentioned earlier that there's the potential of losing yourself in a polymorph and not
Yeah,
wanting to turn
I
back.
was gonna say that too. That like maybe totally. Like there's if you don't know what you're doing, you could like permanently polymorph yourself, and it's a lot worse if you end up as like a giant creature as opposed to a bear.
Yeah, on two levels that hits, because also
Yeah.
on like the pragmatic side, it's like, no, we don't want dragons. We're done with
Yeah.
dragons. We've heard
Yeah,
the stories
yeah.
of dragons. It's terrible, but also it's like
Right.
wizards don't want fellow wizards to just stop being. That's our society. It's kind of like, you don't do that, because then you stop being.
Yeah,
Right.
that actually makes sense. And honestly, maybe mythical creatures are wizards. They're combinations. So mythical creatures might not even exist as much outside of being like, it is a wizard that went too far. For certain
That's
creatures.
an interesting little tidbit you just added to this world.
Well, now we got
very
questions.
much syncs into the birthright setting of Dungeons and Dragons, where the corrupting energy causes them to develop mutations and eventually become horrific monsters. So that's the dark side of polymorph in this world, that these mutations that they can develop from using it incorrectly can cause them to become these monstrosities, and perhaps the origin of the mystical creatures in this world.
Oh,
Cool.
good.
That's a theory.
That's good.
Only a theory, of course. Only a rumor.
I think it's bunk. Bunk, bunk, bunk.
Well, there you go.
All right.
Apparently.
Rich, do you have a mostly positive or mostly negative opinion of Barnabas William Pock?
I don't know, he's my pal, he's my teammate, so I definitely have a mostly positive, but I'll roll for some negative stuff. Like, he's done some things.
So which do you want? Mostly positive or mostly negative?
I have a mostly positive opinion of him, but, like,
Okay.
You
Roll
know,
that positive.
he F's up.
Roll that positive.
8.
8. Okay. How did this character cover for you when you made a big mistake?
Oh, that's easy. This is easy.
Yeah,
The question
it is,
is,
because-
what is the mistake?
Yeah, that is actually the question.
Right?
So
Wow.
essentially, I'm gonna say that just pulling on the thread that now Kate has started. I have been trying to like do like a lot of things like as far as mythical stuff goes, but I don't go all the way. I'm just like, if I can just get pieces of it, then I can do it. And so I was trying to do like a fire breathing spell, not fire breathing the way that a lot of magicians do it, where they like culminate heat and then shoot it out. I was trying to like make the glands and the oil and the electric teeth and then just shoot it out past it and everything like that. So in a much more, bio kind of a way. That's
You
from Flight of
guys
Dragons. I didn't even
always
make that up.
say that I bring the horror into the games, but this
Yeah.
has proven that it's not me.
No, we learned from you, George. We learned, and we're like, let's do what he likes. George likes it when it gets scary. You know?
All right. So, Craig.
So I blew fire and lit something on fire. It worked, but I couldn't turn it off, so I was just spitting fire everywhere. And it was when we were actually doing pyromancy and stuff like that, and it was kind of like he knew that like this was something that could get me in. This is not a little bit of trouble. This is a lot of trouble. So he was like, I was trying fire, and you know me, whammy wham wah, ha ha, wee, and everyone's like, oh, Barnabas, you got to be more careful, and it really just saved my bacon because I would have been destroyed otherwise.
Yeah, I probably got thrown into detention for
As opposed to me
lighting
getting
one
expelled.
of the like storage halls on fire because Desmond was smart enough to like go to like a place where he knew people weren't going to be to test out his experimental magic. But then when I found it, I was like, that's a lot of fire. And then like running back and forth with like buckets of water, dumb stuff. I'm a wizard, but I'm using like buckets of water and stuff.
That home economics class is really having an effect on us. I'm not sure
Yeah,
it's
but-
good.
Mortal
You gotta-
economics.
My
You
bad.
got to do your homework. And through that process, eventually people caught wind because I'm like, and like dealing with that. And then by the time he got himself in order, he was there as I was like, and he's like mellowed out from his transformation. And they're like, Barnabas, detention. I'm like, okay. And then I look back at him and I go, and then I hit the door and I'm like, ugh!
Oh, and the slapstick comes back. That's the beauty of
Yep.
our tone. Slapstick with horror.
Yeah, you get it.
All right. Then, Craig, it's time for you to roll a negative question.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's get
Pretty fitting.
negative. Whoop. 20. I don't like that laugh.
You know
That's
the
not
20s are
good.
always interesting.
I was gonna say the 20 was weird. I remember.
What is the last thing you stole from this character?
Oh,
Ah, shoot. Oh, great question. That's a great question. Rich, just to ask you some questions about your character. Is your character well off? Is he does he come from a rich wizarding family, a neutral, a poor? What kind of things you got that I could take? You know, that's what
I'm trying to think. So, I would say that my family isn't super well off. They're very good at biomancy. They're kind of like a working wizards kind of thing. Like they do like mining for magical ores, like they grow mole claws, stuff like that. Like they're very good at the physical, but they've never quite like made it to being good at the sports. I'm like one of the first that's pretty like good enough to like really start pushing into that.
Yeah, the first guy on the wizarding sports scholarship, gonna make it big for the family kind of scene. Okay. So then, a la my cursed trait, one of our polymorph games.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Desmond pulled off a ridiculous stunt to get two other wizards removed from the match, and Barnabas was still in the match, just keeping up, really. But under the unfortunate circumstances of the situation, Barnabas accidentally disqualified Desmond in the process. But because it wasn't really looked at, because as the dust settled, the opposing team was disqualified, Desmond was knocked out, and Barnabas was the only person there in a big match. He was risen higher in esteem, thereby stealing sort of the sport clout that Desmond has had. And being the kind of guy he is, he was like, I was just in the right place at the right time, you know? And everyone's like, yeah, Barney. And he does the...
Oh, great. We have a...
Sad thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So, Kate and Craig, who would like to go next?
I'll go.
All right.
Why not?
Craig.
Why not? I'm running
Yeah,
hot
go
right
for
now.
it.
Let's go.
Would you like to establish Amelia or Desmond first? And then you stole his kidney. They were very much hoping in the chat that you were going to steal some body part from him.
wow.
That's crazy.
You guys
I
are
know.
dark.
I mean, really, let's talk like the light side of this like dark universe, though, right? If I stole a body part, he keeps making them back. So actually,
It's more like an inconvenience. I'm like, I feel like I'm not processing blood very well.
I gotta spend some time on that guy. Yeah.
right.
All right. Let's start with Amelia.
All right. Do you have a mostly positive or mostly negative opinion of Amelia?
Let's say negative.
Okay.
Mix it up. Mix it up.
Roll that negative.
God, I teach you stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. You think you're better than me, and you're not. I just want you to know that. But
Whatever.
I'll let you help me. You know, because that's the kind of guy I am. Whoop. 12.
12 has been rolled, and there are no duplicates.
Okay, and I was just kidding. I actually rolled a 15.
Rolled a 15. Okay. What curse has this character not fully recovered from yet?
What?
Ooh, that's a lot of power in my hands. That's not even connecting us. That's just straight up her affliction. Cool.
Wisely.
Cool.
is.
I could be like, I could just be like, she's blind. You know, I could. There's a lot of power in this.
I mean, she is clumsy.
She is clumsy. And what is the specifics of what is she afflicted with? What is it? Is it a straight up curse? What are we talking about here?
What curse has this
It's a
character
curse.
not yet
It's a
recovered
curse.
from? So it
Curse
could be
comes
literally
back.
anything.
Oh,
Look what you've done to her by choosing a negative.
this
Yeah.
is
Thanks a lot.
Isn't this like giving her another flaw? This is crazy. I just rolled another flaw for her.
Flaws make good role playing, right?
I agree, which is why I'm not going to hold back. Let's see. So what's a good flaw for Amelia? So Amelia, just to refresh myself, Amelia is a bookwormy type. She has an altruistic sense of bettering others for the academia. Socially, she's a little meh.
Oh, absolutely.
And definitely a target for such ridicule.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my gosh, it's
Fighter!
Pen fighter. Wow. Thank you for the raid.
Pen fighter!
Oh boy. Welcome, people. You are catching us in character creation for an upcoming one shot, because we're clearly not getting to the adventure tonight.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm
Welcome.
just trying to see if there's anything better than blinding her, okay? That's all I'm
My
trying to
God, you and the blinding.
Our current conundrum is they are rolling their relationship questions. Oh boy. And Megiddo has just redeemed Raise the Stakes.
What does that mean?
What does that do?
Ooh.
Did we
That
die?
means- No, that means we're gonna make the situation a little more intense, a little worse.
Oh, come on, Megiddo!
Wow.
Megiddo, my
Excellent
man!
time for you, Megiddo. Megiddo, do you have a suggestion for this then?
Shared curse. Curse.
Oh,
Fight you.
man,
That doesn't make
beautiful.
sense. That doesn't make sense. The question is,
I mean,
What-
he
what
ups it to
curse
shared
she
curse.
was-
That is a thing.
well, I mean, just hear me out. Hear me out. The idea is to up the stakes for the current question, which is what affliction
Yeah,
was
so upping
Amelia
the stakes.
afflicted
I
with.
mean,
That
then
very
having it
much
affect
ups the
you, that
curse.
sure would.
All right, is that
We're
your
just gonna
choice,
dance
Megiddo?
to Rich's tune, aren't we?
This
We're
is
just
what
gonna
you get?
dance to his little dark
I've
fiddle
said-
over there,
I've
his
said a
dark
lot of
little
things.
room.
You know what? This is what the chat wants now, and they are the true.
Well, obviously.
We are on the first instance of these channel points, and it has already done everything that I've ever hoped it could. All right.
Obviously, that changes
It's
it
now.
immediately. It's probably a perpetually stubbed toe, right? I think that's
No,
probably.
oh no,
Oh my God. I feel
like-
no taking the easy way out of this one. Remember,
Yeah, maybe.
as you said, flaws help the role play.
Also,
You were
you're
all
already
on that, not
cursed.
holding back.
So this works out for you. This really makes
Doesn't
your
work out
role
for me. This
play-
is more curse. I'm already cursed. I got cursed with a side of curse.
That's
And a rose,
true.
thank you for the cheer. Oh, man,
Everyone
this
is blind.
exciting.
So chat.
shared. Oh yeah, go Rich. I think I see where you're going.
So chat. Obviously, there's like a Craig doesn't want me deciding anything because he hates fun.
yeah.
But
They're all
and obviously
chanting shared curse.
Kate and Craig are invested in choosing, not a terrible curse for themselves. So what can we think of that's, good that we can give them that makes the characters playable, but is like, again, something that can affect like both of them.
Yeah. Chat, let's get an interesting curse. It's not something that's going to be completely debilitating, but something that can lead to good role play. Let's get some good ideas in here.
I also have an idea, but I would like to hear what Chad says.
Ooh, I mean, if you have an idea.
Well, while they're giving out their ideas, why don't you give your idea, Craig? Give them some time to type.
So, what my idea was is that during one of the tutoring sessions Amelia had with Barnabas, through the process, Barnabas obviously lost interest in the current subject matter in the library and sort of wandered through as Amelia continued to follow and sort of lecture and try and steer him back into the right direction. When he stumbled into the what's the word I'm looking for? Not forbidden, but definitely the
Restricted.
The restricted. Yes. At the opportune time when the librarian was not available to stop wandering eyes and wandering hands. And Amelia, focused and engaged in the tutoring and just sort of following on autopilot, didn't realize until it was too late when Barnabas pulled a book, just following his gut and his interests, and started looking at it. Amelia then finally waking up, seeing him grabbing a forbidden tome of dark magics, tried to snatch it away from him, and in the moment of doing so, one of the pages ripped, and both of them were cursed to feel the same painful sensation the other one would feel from there on.
So, that's
Ooh.
interesting.
It's very
However,
intense.
I'm interested in hearing what the
Chat
has.
has said so far, Megiddo has, whenever anything goes wrong around them, there's a very high chance that they are both blamed for it, regardless of the real culprit. Walrusy had a great one, which is one of Amelia's eyes sees out of Barnabas's eyes, and vice versa. Which very much goes along with your shared pain thing, but wow, that would be hard to play.
It's true. It's a cool concept, but
Yep. And Beck, something polymorph related. So, we've got a few ideas here. In the end, Craig, the decision is... And thank you, Rose, for subscribing.
Aw.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Way to go.
I don't know. Now I feel like a jerk if I don't choose one of our viewers. I don't know. I don't know.
They like shared pain. Shared pain was good.
Yeah.
Is everybody digging shared pain, or
I think
do any of
that's
I feel
cool.
like
these
it's almost too intense.
too intense?
Well,
Too intense.
Thank you again for the sub.
Hey, Walrus!
Hey,
Yeah.
look at that! Oh my gosh, they're going crazy over here.
Oh my goodness.
This is happening. This is happening.
Oh Lord. Thank you guys so much.
And
I'm
it
gonna-
went to
you're
Dr.
enjoying
Mr.
this.
Freckles, which is
Yes.
lovely.
I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go with my gut. Shared pain.
Okay.
I think shared pain is the
There
issue.
was a
Pretty cool.
good reaction from Shared Pain from the crowd when they went for it when you said it. So
Okay,
I
cool.
think Shared Pain is a good one.
as long as nobody's upset.
I
Great
don't think
suggestions,
anybody's
everybody.
upset. I
mean,
hope
I'm
nobody's
upset because
If
I
you
have
are
shared
upset,
pain.
Please let us know in the chat.
I'm upset. I'm very upset. I'll take
Thank
that
you.
in.
I know.
All right. Then that means, Kate, you get to roll a positive for Barnabas. And thank you, Naveen. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
What now? A hype train? Oh, Lord.
yes,
That's
Hype
never happened before.
Train! How exciting!
My mind is blowing. I don't know what any of this nonsense is. And Noob Mama,
I very
thank you for the subscribe sneaking in there. And Miguel,
Yeah!
oh Lord,
So,
thank you all. This is
This
wow.
is happening.
This is crazy. Thank you
Beautiful.
all. Thank you all.
you guys are awesome. So do
yeah.
I roll now, right?
Yes, you roll a d20 unless somebody's forcing you to take a certain
I
number.
love the emote explosions. Okay, 7.
7. How did this character stop a bad rumor about you from spreading?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I know the game. Sorry, Rose, we do eventually need to... All right.
So you know what? Here's what I'm gonna say.
Oh my gosh, Walrus.
Walrus
1000. Jeez.
Man, what was that?
Thank you.
Good man.
Wow, Walrus,
I
you're
hope
a
I'm pronouncing
legend.
your name
Good
right
walrus.
now.
That's a
You
good
can just call
walrus.
Walrus.
Walrus. Hype. So much hype.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna go with. I would say that because of my commitment to my studies and learning all sorts of magics that I can, et cetera, there was a rumor going around at some point that people, were saying that I was gonna get caught up in forbidden magics, and it was just this very negative rumor of just ooh, don't go near her. She's studying all the other she's gonna F you up. And I will say and I'm gonna say this happened after my shared incident with Barnabas. So almost in a selfish reason, or for a selfish reason, he squashed those rumors because he was afraid it might come back to him. That something actually to that effect did happen to both of us, and he was involved somehow, and so he stopped the rumors. And for me, I was probably oh, well, that was so nice of you. But for him, it was probably just yeah, well, don't want anyone finding out about what happened, kind of thing.
Or was it?
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay. So I have to wonder at this point if he's heading toward Barnaby or Barnabas from Babes in Toyland, but whatever. All right. Craig, what is Barnabas's opinion of Desmond? Mostly positive or mostly negative?
Positive.
Positive.
You son of a bee.
Roll that die.
Well, he's a good teammate. You know, he's good at what he does. 18.
18.
We have 18.
Well, chat, here it is. Here's what you wanted. When did you realize you loved this character, either romantically or platonically?
Oh. You know, it's hard to tell. Each moment with Desmond is just... it's like living it again.
Oh.
Does my ink sac look all right? Yeah, buddy.
It's never looked better.
Yes.
Let's see. The first time I knew I loved Desmond. That's the question, right?
Oh my gosh, this is the Harry Potter love triangle, but Ron is the center of it instead of Hermione.
That's what we
Am I wrong?
wanted, really. Yeah, you're Ron.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You're clearly Ron.
Yeah, you're Ron. You're Ron. So it probably was when I joined the team, would be my guess.
Makes sense.
Because I saw how good of a player he was, and though maybe not the most socially sound. I don't know if that's right, Rich. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not as socially sound as you. I would say
Right.
I'm like, most people be like, you're really good, but then you're like, and I'm here, and it's
right.
Oh, Walrus, that's hilarious.
The sports are the means for your social functionality, right? It's sort of like that's the anchor that it's like, yeah, I transform good. Oh yeah. Like,
Doyle rules.
Right. But a different switch, at least in Barnabas's eyes, sort of turns on when Desmond is in his natural habitat, when he's genuinely just playing, he's in instinct, he's in mode, and there's a different type of personality and person that you see. And when on the field with Desmond, it's seen all the more because it's almost animal magnetism of just being able to coexist together in sort of an instinctual environment. Whether or not he feels it in the same way, maybe not, because maybe he's more in his animal mentality than Barnabas, who clearly not as good at this as Desmond is probably also why he can be him and maybe not transform fully as well, because he's thinking more about Barnabas's thought process than what he is when he's the bird or when he's the lizard or when he's whatever. He's still anchored in his sense of individuality as Barnabas in thinking about Desmond. So I think that's when he found out.
And is it
Makes sense.
romantic, platonic, or uncertain?
Well, do you want me to answer that, or do we want to?
Do you want to play it out?
Figure outing
Do
game.
we want to keep a little suspense for the story? I don't know. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you if you want to know. I'll tell you if you want to
we'll
know.
keep that under suspense then.
Okay.
Okay. Then, Rich, roll that negative question. Let's see how this.
How about stealing of that
uproots
glory?
this.
No, 17.
Remember that time you totally stole it from me, dude? What's up with that?
All right. You said 17?
I did.
What aspect of your academic life is this character making more difficult?
Well, that one's.
I'm going to say, just because of how you described the way we play together, I'm going to say that there is kind of like a fluid chemistry where even though you're like, oh, you're not good at it, like even when you're doing your spiraling pigeon thing, if somebody's going for you, I can then like circle around and like kind of like knock them or like move them out of the way. I can still play off of what you're doing. Even though to you it's chaotic, I'm like, okay, he made that wing too small. I'm going to do that. So the sports thing, that's not really where it's at. I would say for the academic part, it's that I realize that I probably trust him too much because I myself am not super bright. And he gives off this air of cockiness where he's like, I got all the answers. And I'm like, okay, so you have the answers. And I'm reckless and I'm rash. So I'm like, so you must, because you say you have them. And so there's oftentimes in more academic studies where he's like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, it said falatata. And I'm like, all right, falatata. And then like everything like explodes into ice in front of us. And I'm like, I don't actually think that was it. But I never quite learned my lesson, but it is slowly building up into, I would say, just a small form of like, not intense resentment, but where it's like I'm listening to you, but how much longer am I going to listen to you?
Okay. Wow.
I'm not very bright. My grades have to stay up.
All right. Then with that, we move on to Amelia. And I keep looking down because I will never remember these names. Amelia, would you like to answer about Barnabas or Desmond first? And yes, A Rose of Jersey, this is so incredibly intricate for a one-shot. Yes.
This happened when we played Kids on Bikes, too. We were like, these are really good characters.
We get so into it, we can't help it.
And I mean, really, this is about a school, so this could very easily be a yearly thing, progress these people until eventually they graduate.
Or we die terribly.
Or die terribly.
Probably died terribly.
I'm going to guess not terribly.
All right. Who would you like to start with?
Let's start with Desmond.
All right. Do you have a mostly positive or negative opinion about
spaghetti hands? No. Okay, go ahead.
What? Spaghetti hands? What does that even mean?
I just turned my whole left side of my body to an octopus.
Yeah, it's a little smash cut to one of their moments, like a 5-second moment. Spaghetti hands. She's like,
I'm gonna say positive.
Okay.
Because even though, like I just think he's just delightful. Okay.
I'm pretty delightful.
Roll that positive.
Yeah.
He is delightful.
We're just gonna put a post-it note over.
There you
go.
You can't hide from me. I love you, dude.
A 4.
A 4. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting for you in particular.
Uh-oh.
You and this character once cut class together. Why? Why did the bookworm cut class?
What did you do?
Spaghetti hands.
We gotta go.
Yes, this was with Rich Desmond.
I'm gonna follow that thread actually, and I'm gonna say that like there was one incident where he was polymorphing or trying to polymorph into something new, and like it didn't work so great. Like he tried to do I don't know, like he tried to give himself a fin or something on his back, like a really cool fin so he could like swim around faster and gills and stuff, but instead he just he ended up like a merman. He was like, oh god, I have like a dolphin tail, I don't know what to do.
It wasn't even a good one. Yeah, dolphin tail is the worst kind of tail you could possibly have on land.
Or like, yeah, so I was like on my way to class and he just like grabbed me and was like, you need to help, and I was like, but I'm going to class. So I made the very difficult decision to skip class and help you out instead. And that was like the rest of the day.
Nice. To help your dolphin-tailed bully out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because so here's the thing, like he bullies me, but I just like, he's the one who like I laugh off, because then we also have our time where we go visit immortal slugs.
Caterpillars, but that's
caterpillars.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's why he bullies you.
You don't want to find the immortal slugs.
Yeah, no, I always call them immortal slugs. I'm just like, do you want to go see your immortal slugs again? And you're just like, it's caterpillars, you nerd.
You donk.
They enter a metamorphosis stage every 10,000 years. They haven't hit their pupa stage yet, you nerd.
So Desmond is incredibly unintelligent, except when it comes to animals.
And then he is the nerd.
I got it.
Okay.
He is
all right.
And I feel like that's probably also that does make sense, like because I have respect for her, which is why I didn't go to anybody else. I was like, please help me. I have a tail. Also, I'm clearly experimenting with what is way more than 5 animals.
And I'm not a narc. Like I didn't tell the teachers or anything. So.
Wow. Okay. Then, Rich, let's get that negative roll.
No.
Give her another curse. Give her
Stop
another
it.
curse.
If we
You
roll the
want
curse one
champagne?
again, I was gonna say if we roll the curse again, I do feel like we should get it.
I mean, if we roll the curse one again, it would clearly mean that you're part of the shared curse.
yeah, I would agree with that. But I got a 16.
Man, 3-way curse.
All right. During classes, what do you do to intentionally distract this character?
I
That's
think we already
perfect.
all know the answers to this. Spaghetti hands.
Oh yeah, spaghetti hands. No, of course.
And a Rose in Jersey has redeemed baby check, so
Yeah, we
There's
want
the
to
baby
see.
again.
Oh, look at him.
Oh, good. Still a baby.
slowly building a strange polycule. What is a polycule? A word I don't
Yeah, we
know.
We'll
are
explain when
building a
you're older, George.
polycule. Yeah, don't Google it. We'll.
Okay.
Just a tri couple. I'm gonna say that, and the weird thing is we obviously don't have the same classes because she's in advanced class. So I'll turn into smaller animals, and like I'll just do things as that small animal, like behind the teacher's back and stuff like that. So like the teacher will be teaching, and I'll go to a place that I think only really she can see me, and I'll like just like do like the hula as like a mouse or something like that, or like she'll hand in a test, and then I'll just stare her dead in the eye as a rat and like throw it off the top of the paper.
That's
so
so
like, it's gonna get lost.
endearing. I love that. It's just
That's-
it's harmless and it's fun.
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm being a bully. I'm just not really good at it.
Yeah.
It
And
feels
that's
like
why I just think you're just so swell and just so endearing. I'm like, you're such a bad bully. I let you do
that
it.
feels like a child's story. What is it? The unfortunate bully?
Yeah.
I was gonna say it sounds like every Pixar movie somehow put into bullying. You know, it's like, hey, that rat's got papers. You know, it's like.
All right. Does Amelia have a mostly positive or mostly negative opinion of Barnabas?
Can I say like neutral?
Nope, there's no neutral answer.
You have a shared
clearly know
course.
them.
Yeah, you know him.
I'm gonna say negative.
Okay. Roll that negative.
You traitor. Oh wait. Oh, walrus.
Oh, hang on. Yep, Walrus
So it
redeemed.
has
the
to be a
loaded
1.
die. It has to be a 1.
Ooh, look at him. Good timing.
Yeah, seriously,
Oh my
All right.
gosh.
way to go.
Oh boy.
Oh
Did
no.
you shudder?
Oh no.
Did you just shudder from
No.
reading
I
a
may have.
question?
What spell did this character cast on you, intentionally or accidentally, that embarrassed you? Well, I fix the
It's gonna be
Maybe
a little lot
check.
less endearing now.
All right. That's going to be an interesting one.
He's getting spicy now.
So what did he cast on me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sky's the limit.
All right, let me think about this.
Spaghetti fingers.
No. Okay. Oh, there's the baby.
Yep, he's back. All right.
Oh, I thought that was your answer. I think
Turn
it
me
was
into
the
a
baby.
baby.
And you're like, what?
Okay.
Okay.
And it could have been
I-
accidental.
Yeah, but with his track record so far and how he views me.
Yeah, there's a bit of a focused aspect to his interaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna say. We had a class that we shared together, and leading up so there was like a big presentation that everybody had to do in the class. Let's say for what's like the school of magic I'm looking for.
Transmutation.
Yeah.
Evocation.
Transmutation. Or not divination. Yeah, transmutation. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna nail it. Like, you know, in all our tutoring sessions leading up, I was telling you all about my lecture and how great it was gonna go and all this stuff. And you're just like so sick of hearing about it. And maybe this happened after the incident too, which I don't know, maybe you blame me for because I'm the one who ripped the page or something. And it's like, you were the one who made this happen to us. So
Wait, I'm involved?
no, with the shared curse, you fool.
Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, this is you.
This
Oh,
is
this
you.
is me?
This is
Oh,
you.
I thought this was him.
No.
Oh, no. I was riding high. I was just sitting and enjoying. Oh, okay. So what did I do? What did I do?
So, all right,
Oh, I
let me
cast a
repeat
spell on you.
myself.
Okay, I see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
God.
engaged now.
Cast a spell on her that specifically embarrassed her.
Yeah,
Oh,
so what I'll
okay,
say is
yeah.
while I was giving this big presentation and like really ramping up to it and everything, you cast a spell that just like totally effed up what I was doing, like intervened with my magic. So I'll say that I ended up like transmutating like just all sorts of things around the classroom and like, you know, just
So what was your
totally...
presentation on? What was the presentation? What were you doing in transmutation?
Safety
I would
and animating
say
objects.
what?
Nothing.
What were you transforming? What were you doing? Right? It's like it's like shape changing.
Yeah,
kind
no,
of,
I'm
right?
trying to think
Whether
what I
Could
was
be
doing
animating as
specifically.
well.
or animating.
So
objects? Okay,
animating,
okay.
yeah. So I think maybe like I was doing this big lecture on like, you know, the most effective way to animate things to work for you, and you
Okay,
know,
okay.
like and so I found like a really specific way to do it that's like easier or something. So I was really excited, and it just all went sideways because of you.
And
I
I
ended
Wardrobe
up...
started punching you.
Yeah,
You
I made the broom was just whacking the teacher in the face, and like it was just chaos. And it
So
was
now-
the most embarrassing moment of my life because like, you know.
Was it intentional or accidental?
Well,
I feel
my
like
thought...
that's a question for Craig, right?
Yeah,
For-
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
for
I would
Barnabas.
rather...
This is your moment. Was it intentional or accidental?
I think it was accidental. I think honestly what was happening is I was kicking up my feet and trying to get comfy because it was another lecture from Amelia, and you know how I do with those, which is not good. So I was trying to animate some of the furniture near me to allow it to like set up kind of like a lazy boy setup in the back of the class, and my spells went wide and started hit and sort of hit the surrounding area around her, so everything started moving in odd directions and ways, tripping her up, making her stumble, and she's clumsy to begin with, so when furniture starts moving, it starts getting messy. And as everybody started laughing, instead of like taking the heat, which I am one to do, I sort of sunk away, which was also probably a tell for her to know that I did something, because she probably saw me doing like the
Or
moment.
Mhm.
You know?
Okay. Then Craig, roll that positive question. The
Right, because I'm
final
involved in
question.
this. Right, I remember. I didn't think that was all about Desmond. Here we go. 2. I rolled a 2.
Why did you spend the summer at this character's home instead of your own?
oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh, man. How far do we bring this?
Such a such
Yeah,
an intricate
right?
web.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big something.
There we go,
Let's
Naveen.
see. So I was at Amelia's home over a summer. I was staying there over a summer. That's the situation.
Yep.
Amelia, what is your just to help me out with this? What's your home like? What's your home life?
So Amelia, I would say has both her parents, and she has 2 younger brothers who are twins.
Mm-hmm.
And her mother, you would come to learn that her mother is quite sick. She's bedridden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody really talked about it. It was just kind of like this thing. It was like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. She just stays in bed.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. I think for one summer Barnabas stayed with Amelia's family because Barnabas's family is like upper middle class. They're not rich, but they are on the rise in the society of the wizarding world, and as such, there's a significant amount of pressure, obligation, and duty that the Pock household puts upon him as the eldest son, and as such, with his grades being what they are, they denied him return from home and told him he needed to fix that before he would be allowed back in his house. And Amelia, hearing that he didn't have a home to go back to at the time, and he wouldn't have told her because of grades, though she probably is aware grades are an issue. I think that on her own good generosity of just being a good person in general, and someone who's been trying to help Barnabas, was like you can't just stay here, you'll go crazy. So she brought him home, which he did. His grades probably still didn't get too much better. It probably got marginally better because he was still there and he couldn't escape her at that point. But I think that's the circumstance for why.
Nice. And also for like status for her family, it's totally like the Weasleys. Like they don't really have a whole lot, but they are a welcoming family. So it was just like, yeah, of course, spend the summer here, you know.
A wholesome and welcoming abode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then with that in mind, we finished with the relationship questions.
Ooh.
But your questions are not done.
Ooh.
Based on your trope that you've built here, each one of you has 2 additional questions that you're going to have to answer about yourself. So, we started with Rich at the beginning. Let's start with Rich again. Question 1. What's your greatest athletic achievement?
My greatest athletic achievement is that in the 2-on-2, me and Barnabas are actually rated high enough to compete against upperclassmen, which is something that people take great interest in, that we are 14-year-olds, but obviously a 14-year-old that can change into a panther is still just as good as a grown man that can change into a panther. There isn't a huge difference between the two. It's just skill and know-how, and our ability to play off of each other has made it so that way we are already essentially competing against seniors from other schools and stuff like that. And at the rate we're going, we should be competing at a more, like, let's say, semi-pro level by the time we get to upperclassman status.
Yeah, we got that ill synergy.
Yeah.
Totally platonic, unquestioned synergy.
Yep. Good game. Good game. Say good game a lot, man.
Keeps transforming his hands into big monkey paws. I don't know what that's about.
Okay. Craig.
Yes.
Why doesn't Desmond want to work as hard as everyone else seems to want to?
Me?
Sorry, not Desmond.
I was like, damn.
Barnabas. Barnabas.
Why does he not want to work as hard
as everyone else seems to want to?
Because I think it's an aspect of escapism for him to not allow what is projected on him from his household, and his cocky, carefree, and usually messing up sort of way is, in a sense, his own freedom from what is expected of him. So for him to not achieve to the nth degree like he is expected to do, like to not be able to land the proper polymorph trick, to not cast the spell appropriately, in a sense, even though it is a failure to the common populace, for him it's pushing past what is expected of him from his household and society.
Okay. Before we move on to the next one, I'm afraid the baby time is up, so say goodbye to the baby, everybody.
Bye, G5.
Bye-bye, baby.
Bye.
Yes, G5, George V.
I'm just glad he's sleeping. That's good.
Yes. Yes, he is.
I remember the anxiety of just like watching and being like, please stay asleep.
Yes. Yes. So, why does Emilia love studying by herself?
Uh-oh, speaking of.
Check out these caterpillars.
No
reason.
I'm actually listening to I thought I heard crying from upstairs and he moved. I was like, oh, come on, just because I said something.
Love awakened me, mother.
I think that she loves studying by herself because...
It's probably right, Nibby.
Stop answering for me.
Whoa.
Anyway, because she, I would say like she grew up reading, like from a young age, she just was always reading every book in the house. And it was kind of like how she passed the time, and she would read to her mom a lot, like when her mom, had to stay in bed and she was like, I don't want you to be lonely. So I think she likes to do it by herself because it just like kind of reminds her of, happier times when like everything was fine and she was at home and she was just like curled up with her books. And she doesn't like the distractions either. Like she just works well alone when she's trying to learn. Yeah, no octopus hands or spaghetti hands, whatever.
But yes, that was a good answer, Walrus. Reading out loud and making voices for different books.
It's really good.
Okay,
I
maybe
like
that
answer too.
Maybe that too. Every once in a
that's
while.
Just fun.
Yeah.
Isn't that what all of us do here on Twitch anyway?
Yeah.
All right. Rich, what is the worst injury you've caused someone else to suffer?
How dark do I want to go with this?
Oh
like
my
on a
God.
scale of 1 to 10.
They're
10 being
gonna want me to
darkest,
go dark.
1 being not dark. I don't know. We'll go with the first 3. We'll average it out.
Walrus.
We've got a
11.
Okay, you guys are
10,
terrible.
11, and 8. Oh boy.
What did
It's out
you
of
think
100.
would happen?
It's out of 100.
Oh, you got a 9.7.
Okay. So I didn't kill anybody, so that's nice. Thanks for not giving me a perfect 10. Putting that on my tiny child mind. So I'm gonna say that, and again, I am reckless with my polymorphing. So even though you're only supposed to have 5 forms and you should really stick with those for a year, I do kind of like switch out fairly quickly. I can't switch out between matches, but like I'll try and learn things like from game to game, essentially. And so there was an expectation like, oh, well, Desmond has, this, this, and this. And he has the signature move, Pigeon Dive, with Barnabas. So, that's obviously what they're going to work on. And so they were trying to plan around that. So we were actually facing someone who was upright. Like they were going to a pro team. They were about to like really, make it all the way. They were graduating next year. So it was really their time to shine. But because of Barnabas's attitude of being like, we're the best and we can be the best, that's contagious. And I'm reckless. And so I refuse to really not try. And so what happened is we were doing a signature pigeon dive where I was a mouse kind of just riding on his spiraling back, ready to like leap. And then it changed from tag to not tag. And I jumped off his back and turned into a hippopotamus. And I landed on the guy that was a wolf and just slammed right into him. And obviously it was a hard tag and everyone was like, full service, absolutely, you got that tag. However, Desmond was thinking about the tag, was thinking about the wind, and wasn't thinking about things like inertia and other things like that. And because he is so used to, because of the way he polymorphs different parts of himself, he's like, obviously that's what you do. You polymorph and fix yourself. But he completely just destroyed this guy's leg in that form and made it so that way he could not get it back to a human leg. It was a broken wolf leg for years after the fact, or has still been. It's assumed it'll recover, but obviously his time for being in the pros is now just gone.
Wow.
So yeah.
Woof.
Hey, they did 9.7. Nobody
They
died,
did.
right?
True.
Nobody died. Okay. Craig.
Yeah.
What's one part of your life where you do put in much more effort?
Oh, that's a good question. What is one part of my life that I put in much more effort?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the... Okay, interesting. This is something that I probably am genuinely trying to achieve in.
Yep.
He is Barnabas.
Putting all his effort into Desmond.
Don't answer for him.
Oh boy.
That's a really tough one, actually.
Yeah. And they're
what-
all enjoying watching you sweat.
I think if there's something that Barnabas is genuinely trying to achieve, it's probably achieving his own identity. Because even in his family life, even in his school life, he's still not his own individual. In his academics, he's counseled by Amelia. In sports, he is shadowed by Desmond. In his personal family life, he is shadowed by a legacy of existence of the Pock household. And in that, there's a lack of control and genuine acknowledgement that his actions are his own, his decisions are his own, and his life is his own. Which, for a 14-year-old, the existential crisis is unbearable. So he's trying to find what is truly his. Not that he doesn't enjoy his sports, not that he doesn't enjoy his blunders, all these things, but there's an emptiness behind those actions and activities that still doesn't feel like it's truly him.
That's legit.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, there we go.
There.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
you gotta think about it, right? You gotta
Yeah,
think about it.
that's
These
good.
characters
That's good.
these characters are people.
Emilia, how have your recent attempts to spend time with others backfired?
How has it not?
Would you stop it with I think that I feel like this is unfortunately probably just a common thing for Amelia, but recently, she's trying so hard to be more relatable to people. And I think in a way she thinks she's better than other people. She doesn't like come out and say it or flaunt it, but she's trying to like tone that down and just be like, how can I relate to other people? And so she's just trying so hard to get into these circles and really kind of like find a group of people she can connect with besides these two, because even though like they're friends, she's like, I don't know, do they just keep me around for this or that? And it's just, like the rumors kind of stuck a little bit. Like she's just viewed as, I think, a little bit of like, not a pariah, but
That's pariah-ish.
yeah, I guess it is a little pariah-ish. So I think recently she has been trying so hard to just insert herself into things. Like she's reading all sorts of books about like, stuff that people are into and is like trying to relate, but it's all book smart and not street smart. So people are like, oh, it just comes off as like not genuine. And I think people find that weird. And so she just isn't clicking with anyone really.
Okay. Then with that, it is time for the finishing touches.
Oh, geez, I thought we were done.
Oh,
Finishing
no.
touches.
Oh, no.
Just another 2 hours of personal, in-depth questions.
No, the questions, sadly, are over. For now.
Oh.
For now.
For now. Now we have to do the things like determine your wand. So if you turn to page 22 in your books, you will need to determine what your wand is made of. You will need a wood and a core. Different woods and different cores will give you benefits in different kinds of magic.
Done.
For instance, a wisteria wood will give you a bonus to brains, whereas a crabapple wood would give you a bonus to fight. And props on this book for putting crabapple as a type of wood.
Yeah, seriously.
Right?
And for your cores, Phoenix's feather would give you a bonus to brains, whereas an ogre's fingernail would give you a bonus to brawn.
Can I do wisteria, and can I do a raven's feather because I have a raven? And
Yes.
Yeah,
and that would be a brains.
Right.
Yep. So you're
Cool.
going deep on the
There we go.
brains with your wand.
I am. She's a little brainy thing.
And this applies when you're using your wand to enact magical effects.
Oh, cool.
What type of magic is polymorph? Well, the thing is that polymorph, it would depend on the effect that you're trying to accomplish. So if you're polymorphing to go bash somebody in the face, that would be a fight type magic. If you're trying to gain a giant's strength by polymorphing, that would be brawn.
You can't choose the same for both.
Ah, well, you
Never
can't
mind.
choose the same for both. Then there you
Never
go. Look at you
mind.
reading rules, because I didn't.
Oh, you did it.
Okay,
All right.
so who's got a wooden core?
I guess I do.
All right. What type of wand does Barnabas William Pock have?
He has a lilac wand.
Okay. And what is his core?
His core is obviously a one of them is air. It's just an empty wand. That's not magic. His the core of it is going to be a pigeon bone.
A pigeon bone. Okay.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
what bonus
pigeon
will
bone.
that give you?
I believe that would give me a bonus to flight.
Okay.
So that's
you
giving
have
me a bonus.
lilac wand with a pigeon bone core.
Yeah, you got it. Only the
Alright.
best for Barnabas.
All right. Kate, Rich, have either of you nailed down your wand?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
What kind of wand does Amelia have?
So she has a wisteria
Okay.
wand. As for the core, yeah, I'll do little pieces from a lion's mane for grit.
Okay. So wisteria wood and lion's mane.
Yeah.
Nice. And for Desmond. Desi, as they have taken to nicknaming you. As
Yeah,
they've given
apparently.
each of you nicknames, I think.
He has a maple wand with a dragon's heartstring core.
Nice. Grit and fight. Okay. Then if you will turn 3 pages beyond that, you will see a list of brooms. You can go ahead and choose a broom for yourself. These brooms will give you just a little bonus when you are using the broom. Of course, if you are to use the broom in mortal society, it will very quickly identify you as, well, not normal. Also, if it is damaged or in some way lost, you will no longer have access to this boon. These are things like the Bolting 4000, which gives you a +1 to flight checks. Or the Daredevil's Duster, where if you perform a stunt, you get a +3 to charm checks against any characters who witness the stunt. And, yes, Walrus, You can use it to clean.
The number one use for a magical broom.
All right, we have a question for you, Desmond. Do you have
What?
flames painted on the side of your wand?
Oh man. No, I would probably have a bunch of what I do with my wand is I etch every animal I've ever transformed into or taken a piece of, like, to transform into.
Okay.
So it's kind of just slowly becoming, like, right now it has like a few animals on it, but obviously Desmond hopes as it gets more, like, it'll just continue to become covered in animals.
Okay.
You know, as he descends into a Simic monster beast.
All right, who's got a broom picked?
I do.
All right, let's see that broom.
I am going to take the Heartwood's Helper.
The Heartwood's Helper. Short description of the rider is outgoing, and each time you succeeded a check, an ally of your choice receives 1 adversity token. Ooh, very nice. If your wand is broken, you no longer get those bonuses. So the wand gives them bonuses when they're trying to cast that magic. When they lose their wand for some reason, they will lose that bonus. It's unfortunately not that they lose access to their magic. The magic is still somewhat inherent in them. It's just that the wand is a focus. Yes, as you said, more of a focus, not a requirement to cast.
I'm going with the map maker's friend.
The mapmaker's friend. You are level-headed, and if you know the area, you cannot get lost.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and Beck mentioned this one. I think I got to go with it. I'm going to choose the Valiance 2400.
Where you are brave and you may ignore your fears, which are coming up soon. And yes, Megiddo, this system is very cool. It has some very interesting mechanics, which you'll get to see when we eventually make it into an adventure next time. All right, everybody's got their broom. Then, the last stuff. What is your character's motivation? It seems like you've all pretty much started creating that throughout this entire process. But now's the time to put into words. What is your character's motivation?
Is this something we choose from a list, or do
No.
I write this down?
You write this
is
down.
Just me?
This
Okay,
is just
okay.
this is all
That's
you.
just
This
for
is
us.
all character.
Do we say it out loud?
Yeah, do we say it out loud?
Of course, the chat has
I don't
to
know. You said write it
Well,
down.
Well,
No. You said it's just for us. So sorry,
it
guys.
is something that, I mean, you don't have to share it with each other if you would prefer not.
Yeah, we can mute it, deafen ourselves.
Yeah, if you guys, when you each share
That
your
was a-
motivation, take off your headphones or whatever, and then we'll not know each other's motivations. I mean, except for me.
I actually like that. Keeps us guessing.
I can share mine already. I'm ready.
Okay, then Rich and Craig, go ahead and remove your headphones.
Okay. So for Amelia, most of her life, for as long as she can remember, her mom has been sick with like this unknown illness. That kind of like, you know, she can only do so much physically, and then she's like bedridden for a while. And there's just no one knows what to do about it. You know, it seems like it's going to take a lot of magic or a lot of researching to figure it out. So that's been a lot of Amelia's motivation for being a bookworm. She's like, I'm going to study my ass off and I'm going to figure out how to like heal my mother. So that's like her number one priority with being an academic, like on the side, besides impressing her parents and trying to do good by her parents and get them wealth and help them retire and stuff eventually. But like, that's number one.
Okay,
That's it.
the rest of you can put your headphones back on. Who has their answer next?
I'm ready if you're ready.
Okay.
You go. You go.
You got it.
All right,
Get out
Craig
of
needs
here.
more time. All right, take them out, or mute the sound.
I think the most powerful creature was actually Petrified Pete, and I want to learn to turn into Petrified Pete, become the greatest wizard. No, that's not true at all. I think Desmond's motivation is largely just kind of proving that he can do it, and that he is capable of doing it, and that he can kind of like make it into this space that his family has been otherwise unable to attain. So it's largely just making sure that he can do that. But part of that motivation is also not losing himself. So when he smashed that guy's leg, he did genuinely feel like, oh no, this is terrible, because he doesn't want to be the kind of person that just walks over other people. He wants to get places on his merit, not necessarily on his ability to walk over others. So it's kind of this thing where he wants to make it and he wants to be the best, but he still very much wants to retain just kind of connections to everyone around him, which is probably one of the reasons why he is still connected to Barnabas, who a lot of people consider kind of a wash, especially like in the sport and everything. But he's like, no, you don't leave people behind. You have to carry a piece of it with you, no matter how big you get, or no matter how good you are.
Okay. Then you guys, then I guess Craig, or whoever does, puts their things back on as I gesture wildly, trying to get their attention.
Was that the only person who took off his headphones?
All right. Kate, you can't hear me, right? Good. No involuntary reaction. All right.
Makes a lot more sense, though.
What is your motivation, Barnabas?
I think we all sort of are aware of sort of the gist of Barnabas's motivation, but it's really to find out where he really belongs in life. Because though there is an assigned place to him, that's not exactly what he feels is right. Being told what your life is one thing versus deciding what your life is. So through acting out, through causing occasional harm here and there, or maybe helping somebody here and there, it's his attempt at trying to figure out exactly what that means for him for life in the future, life at the current, and in theory, his life in the past as well, to figure out how to amend what is to him a problem. I mean, especially when his parents don't even allow him back into his own home. That's got to be rectified as well. So the question is how?
Okay. Everyone can go ahead and put their headphones back on. All right. Nobody phoned it in. That's great.
Like, you were expecting it?
Hey, you never know. Anyway,
That's fair.
the next part are your fears. This is something you can share with each other because that's not quite as deeply intrinsic as your motivation. Your fear is something that you truly fear, and there will be mechanical implications for the fear. So what is something that you're afraid of?
Spiders.
Okay, are you going with that?
Yeah, I'm taking spiders. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's an excellent one. I agree. Spiders, and spaghetti fingers.
Abandonment.
Okay.
So I think that's like why she clings to whatever friendships she has, especially even if they're not stellar.
Okay.
Yeah, spaghetti fingers.
It's always an option. Just putting it out there.
And what does Desmond fear?
Desmond fears loss of humanity.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. With this world that you have created, yes, that is a legitimate fear.
He's like, man, I might not make it back from being a falcon this time. Here I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I
great.
feel like there's always this push where it's like the better you do in an animal form, it almost then ties to this thing where it's like, am I doing too well? Like, is this going
Right.
too good?
There's a little voice in the back of your head that's like, why should I turn back?
Yeah.
Yes,
Like, no.
That's just it. It's the world that Rich created. Rich established this thing and then shot himself in the foot by making a character that
Yeah.
has to dive into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he made
If you
his
make
own
something
thing.
crappy, you have to take the crappy thing.
Yep. Okay. Then, the final finishing touch is your school bag.
School bag.
This is not
Flames.
just your school bag itself. These are the things that you always have on your person.
Is there a page for that?
Man, I don't know. I don't have the sheet. Yes, there is a
We got
section for
this
school
far to get a
bags.
man. I don't know. Oh boy.
It's pretty
Yes,
good. I'm
there
impressed.
is. There is a section for school bags right under your animal familiar.
So that page would be.
Or are you looking in the book
Figure it
for
out.
this?
Look.
No. This is just on your character sheet. This is all free form.
Oh, so we just pick what it is.
Yeah, just
But
pick what things there
It's
are that
just
you
what
always
is
keep on your
appropriate
person.
to us?
Cool.
Yes,
Interesting.
these are things that you will always be assumed to have.
How
An
many
Obviously,
item
they should be
limit.
things that can fit in a school bag.
Okay.
animal feed?
So keep in
What if-
mind the size of a bag.
But we're wizarding school, so what if my bag
Yes,
is a bag
yes,
of
yes. You have
holding?
magical pouches. Yes. And I will be sure to steal yours first.
But that's not a no, so that's good to know. Good
Cool.
to know.
Okay.
Okay.
So while they're working on that, as far as this system goes, we've talked a little bit about the dice rolls and how they work. They roll whatever their stat is, and then they add any applicable modifier that they might have. If they roll the maximum number, they roll again, and keep going until they eventually have a total. If they attempt to enact a spell, they're using one of their stats, rolling it, along with any applicable magic bonus that they have from their wand or a strength, in addition to an extra d4. That will become their total magical effect. Magical effects, as we mentioned, are freeform. There are no spells that they have to learn. The effects are things that they will determine what they want to try to accomplish, and then I will assign it a difficulty, an appropriate stat, and whatnot. Moving beyond that, there are snap decisions and planned decisions. These are the types of rolls that you will have to make. When you have time to think, to plan out what you're going to do, then you get to determine what you're actually going to roll. And not only that, you have the option of taking the average on your dice roll. So you can forego rolling and just take whatever the average is on your die. However, if you have to make a decision in the heat of the moment, then you cannot do that. You will roll what you're told to roll. You'll get your whatever the result is. Adding a little bit of difficulty and raising the importance of planning. Now, as they go, they will gain adversity tokens every time they fail, which they can then spend to increase their rolls. And those are the basics of this system. In general, this is not a system of complex dice rolls and mechanics. This is more about the narrative elements. As such, when it comes time to make that roll, it should be a big result. It shouldn't be, okay, now we're going to chip away at it by rolling and rolling and rolling. That roll that you make should be the deciding factor on whether what you're doing succeeds or not. And as such, it leads to faster play than some other games, which is nice, because the character creation is not fast.
It's so cool, though.
Yeah.
All right, so who has their school bag kitted out?
I don't know. Here's the problem. How many things exist in a magical world?
Yeah, can
that
I have a
could
jar
be
of
like-
echoing?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Are we talking remembralls? Are we talking invisibility cloaks? Are we talking? I
Talking
mean, what's
supplies for spells? Yes, potions, your broom, things like that.
I
so?
put some pretty mundane stuff.
You
That's
put
what I'm
the
saying.
mundane
I'm
stuff
not a
is very
wizard.
useful.
I'm just a guy.
I'll read off
Mundane stuff
mine.
is useful. These are your supplies. These are not the magical potion of defeating the evil wizard.
Yeah. I put like journal, compass, stopwatch,
Mhm.
many quills, ink pots, snacks, and broom.
Yeah. So think about what would be important to your character. What would your character choose to always have on
wait.
hand?
Also,
Animal feed, carnivore animal feed, the Wizard's Guide to Advanced Curses, to identify curses and stuff like that. I don't like curses.
Identify.
Yeah, I don't want to cast it. That's clearly not my deal. Pen, paper, incense, like sage and stuff. Magical firecrackers, with 5-second fuse. Jar of echoing, which is a jar you can speak into and put a top on, and then when someone opens it, it says what you said out.
Okay.
Nice.
Changed the game. He's changing the game.
I know.
I mean, that's a pretty minor.
Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. It's like a little cantrip.
You proved a magic item. That changed the game.
A jar full of glitter and snacks.
Oh, sure. You gotta have snacks too.
Well, I mean,
I just wrote beef jerky, but I'm
That's your sticking point. You carry food as well.
half his
Gotta be
bag
kidding.
is snacks with the animal feed, the carnivore feed, and also beef jerky.
Mhm.
All right, Craig.
How?
No one has had tennis balls yet.
That's true.
Oh.
I have my gym clothes in there too.
Of course.
What I have is a journal, quill and ink, vellum, potion vials, a school book, fruit, spellcasting components.
Yeah.
That's even a proper thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And a tennis ball.
And a tennis ball, a single
One
tennis
tennis ball. One tennis ball. It's a
You
very
always
important
have
tennis ball.
exactly one tennis ball on your
Well,
person.
yeah,
you don't
you
know
know-
how you always have exactly one.
I mean, I got a nice stock back in my room, but you always keep one because it's a good way to pass the time and
Okay.
not do your schoolwork.
Can
And
I
what
also
is your
say...
minor magical
Oh, I'm
item?
sorry.
And yes,
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
don't-
come back to you, Kate, for what your minor magical item is.
Oh.
See, I don't know though. That's the thing.
I mean, if you're
We
not
just
creative
gotta-
enough to come up with one, I guess you don't get one.
Oh,
Wow.
Kate, you
Ow.
probably have one ready. Why don't you go?
Okay, wait. So the other thing I'm adding to my bag, Amelia's doing this on the side. She's trying to make this like a thing. They're little books, and they're like Amelia's Guide to Blank, and they're meant to be these little, it's like footnote books. So it's like Amelia's Guide to herbs and this and that. So she has like a bunch of little books that she's written herself that are like little handy reference guides.
The things you already know.
And
which
are
is
they,
great.
if an average person were to pick them up and read them, are they useful?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just making sure if you are
Yeah.
efficient and competent
Of
or not.
course.
Okay.
Excuse you.
Have to ask.
20 brains over here. So my minor magical item. Gosh.
A mirror that you can imagine a hairstyle, style in general, and it gives you an illusion of that style. Not an actual disguise, just changes your look a little bit. The prestidigitation of mirrors.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Spell checking quill, I could use that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the returning tennis ball. 'Cause I
Okay.
chose
The
tennis ball.
returning tennis ball.
All right. Your single tennis ball is actually a returning tennis ball.
Right.
Explains a lot.
Okay. Kate, the
I'm
final decision
like
of
really
this character
overthinking
creation
this.
process.
Glasses of language deciphering. It doesn't actually read it in any different language. It just tells you what language it is.
I was about to say, that doesn't sound very minor until
I
you said
was-
all it does is tell you it's German.
I was trying to think of a way to utilize my glasses. Like, how can I integrate them into a,
Glasses of minor lockpicking.
what? No.
1, 2.
Speed reading glasses.
Glasses of minor.
Ooh, speed reading glasses. Yeah, can I read things in like half the time it takes normal people?
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Done.
And with that, the characters are complete.
Yay!
After
Alright.
2 hours and 47 minutes.
Record time, guys.
I think we've done
Record time.
worse.
True.
Yeah, we definitely
have
have.
done worse.
So to finish this up, we're going to go around and just take the time to reintroduce yourself as your character. So let's start where we started from the beginning with Rich.
All right. I am Desmond Dillon. I am a winner-takes-all kind of personality. I fight for my friends, but largely I just like being part of a team and feeling like I'm doing something good. But I want to win, and I don't think probably hard enough on what that means to a lot of people, but that's okay. I got to win.
Okay. Craig?
Oh, it's me? Oh, okay.
Same order
yeah.
we've done the whole time.
I gotta get. Clearly, I missed that. Sure. Hi.
As Beck says, voices.
Oh.
voices.
Mm.
Get that voices.
Okay.
Those voices.
Well, we'll go for the easy softball. Hello. My name is Barnabas William Pock, or Barney. My friends call me. I'll just try to get by. I'd like to say I'm a good laugh. I'm worth a good laugh. I usually end up a good laugh. But I'm here to hopefully graduate, or maybe stay around a little longer. I don't know. But hopefully have a good time along the way. Is that good enough? I don't know. What else do I do?
That's good. Kate?
Hey.
Well, my name is Amelia Gershwin Prinsky. I love academia. I love to study. I always you can always find me in a book, always find me reading. Yes, I do get bullied a lot, but for the most part, you just have to let it roll off your shoulders and just keep doing your thing, right? If you need help with any of your studies, you can always come to me. I'm always available, and I'm just around to chat too if you ever want to just talk.
All right. And with that, these are the students of Gazette.
Pigazit.
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 Traveling into the world, beginning their journey through life at their school, unaware of the dark things waiting for them when we eventually return to the RPG Blender for another episode of Kids on Brooms. Anyway, thank you all for coming out and joining us for this character creation process. We have finally finished these characters. I hope it was entertaining for you guys. We will clearly be returning to this in the near future to actually use these characters. So in the meantime, you guys, do you have anything to plug? What are you guys going to be doing in the near future?
Stuff. Lots of stuff. Important stuff. Can't count the amount of things we're doing.
Oh boy.
Streaming. Definitely streaming. We will occasionally from time to time, although it's becoming more of a norm, doing a multiplayer Mondays. Around 8:30 p.m. on, when we will play all sorts of things. I think we're putting down Phasmophobia, which has been our recent haunt. But we don't know what we're going to do next. But if you're interested, stay tuned and follow us all. Noob Mama, Doing Die Gaming, Dr. Mr. Freckles. Maybe even RPG Blender might join in on one of these from time to time.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I've found a 5-player one.
There you go. But besides that, I'm streaming on Tuesdays, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, as well as on Sundays from 2 p.m. To 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where I will be playing Resident Evil, the HD Remastered, my blind playthrough. Feel free to join if you want. That's me. Somebody else, please talk.
Take the baton. Take the
Right.
baton.
As for me, I feel like most people here know my schedule. For this weekend coming up tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I will be playing Phasmophobia with Galaxies and Necromancy. And another streamer friend of hers, his name I'm not familiar with, but I will be personally streaming it, so you can come swing by, watch me play with new people. It's going to be spooky. She's a delight, so I'm excited to actually collab with her. And then Sunday is exciting. I do my 1:30 really short mini stream of Fall Guys, but I'm also doing a giveaway because everyone helped me hit 200 followers, and I promised a game giveaway, and so I shall do that. And maybe more than one giveaway. We'll see.
I like free things.
I do like free things.
All right. Rich, anything upcoming? Getting more into streaming?
Eventually, I'm definitely going to have a schedule, so, stay tuned for that. And it won't be on the times that these guys stream, so, yeah. I also do the multiplayer Mondays with everybody. It's just a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So I hugely recommend stopping by and checking these guys out. Obviously, if you want to see a man lose his mind doing incredibly hard games while trying to juggle fatherhood, I also hugely recommend RPG Blender here.
Yeah, it's worth a good laugh.
It's good. It's real good. But yeah, other than that, you normally are going to catch me with these people, so I'll see you around.
And also throw them a follow.
Oh yeah, you should follow. Yeah.
Yes.
I will have a schedule. It's coming. It's in the mail.
Yes, so drop them follows. Obviously, their usernames are here. We got Noob Mama, Dr. Mr. Freckles, and Do and Die Gaming. I believe you can probably find links to most of them on my page right now if you go into the panels. I'll add Dr. Mr. Freckles there if I have not. Anyway, for my own schedule, I'm currently doing a Dark Souls Soul Level 1 run, Dark Souls Remastered, on Tuesdays. So that's the fresh pain that I'm doing right now. Thursdays are a little more low-key as we're going through a game from my childhood, Phantom Dust. And then on Sundays, doing a blind playthrough of Axiom Verge, a Metroidvania-style game. And all of these are what I'm calling gaming between babying, where I start at a certain time and I continue until the child wakes up, or it is time for his final feed. We race the baby. As yes, thank you for reminding me of my own title, Rose in Jersey. Yes. So that's that. We also have our podcast, which at least Rich and Craig have been on. I'm sure Kate will be on it at some point. Yes, so our podcast is an actual play cross-system RPG podcast with an ongoing story as they jump between systems, which also means that this game exists in the storyline. They're going to have to wait and see how it all connects.
Ooh.
But every game that I run on this channel or as part of the podcast exists within the same world.
Ooh.
And something just sunk into Craig. I also have a YouTube page, or the RPG Blender, where we are doing tutorials on how to run games, try to promote some of these lesser played games, or unusual settings and scenarios that you can run through. So if you're interested in running your own games, maybe go check that out as well, where you'll also find that today we posted the conclusion of our Night's Black Agents actual play. Where they finally learned the twist of that game, which was quite one of the highlights of my gaming career.
Aww.
So yes, that's where we are now. Go ahead and follow us wherever you can. And I think that's it for us. The Yay! Gingerbread Witch is, yes, eventually when the Gingerbread Witch game goes live, yes, it is within the storyline. You'll have to wait and see how it all fits in, because that's, it's not always obvious. But anyway, I guess it's time to figure out who to raid.
Yeah!
Does anyone have any suggestions?
Galaxies and Necromancy is streaming right now.
Okay.
Who I'm playing with tomorrow.
That seems
She's
like a good
delight.
fit.
Yeah, she's lovely.
Galaxies and Necromancies.
Who else is on? I see
Captain
RPG
Al?
Blender. He's on.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, RPG Blender.
Oh, yeah, let's raid that.
Captain Al is also on.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants
Alright.
to give him a raid?
Galaxies.
Otherwise,
let's
yeah.
see.
I didn't remember Galaxies and Necromancy.
All right, yeah, you want to go ahead and send me that name so that I can get
Yeah,
the
that
spelling
Oh,
right?
sure, yeah.
How's that
Hang
there?
on
Let's do it.
one second. Let me chat. Here, I'll give you the whole.
Also, this escaped my mind, but additional shameless plug, because I'm a shameless man. Do and Die Gaming's YouTube channel is starting to cook. Some of my videos from my streams are getting brought over there, so they don't just fall into the Nexus void of Twitch VODs.
Heck yeah.
So if you're interested in seeing those, I think for instance for Duck Season, which if you saw it last night, which was quite an experience, and
So
I
good.
highly recommend it for anybody who hasn't experienced that game before. I think I'm going to go back and do the last endings I did not get to on my own and conclude those in a YouTube series. So,
Nice.
because I don't think it'll be long enough for me to do that again for another VR stream, which I do on Thursdays. But and I've got more odd and creepy and disturbing and fun VR games planned as well. So,
Nice.
so if you're interested, keep an eye out there and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Woohoo!
And maybe eventually he'll have a Let's Play of Dark Souls 3. posted there.
I don't know why I keep talking about this. I don't know why I keep talking
We
about
have been
We have so
we've recorded
much-
for 3
we have so
years
much-
and has
We
never
have so much
actually...
backlogged footage of Dark Souls 3. It's also our baby footage because it's us all
Yeah.
like, hooey,
Yeah,
let's
that's
figure
true.
out how to record. Buttons are pressed.
We're playing a game with friends.
Uh-oh, Rich, I lost my sound. Can you splice his sound with mine?
Hey, that was hard, and I did a great
Yeah,
job.
I know, but we had to do it. That's
Yeah.
not a good
Yeah.
sign.
Or the time
was
when
a
you
while
accidentally
ago.
streamed to Twitch the whole time instead of recording it.
Yeah, that one was a
Oh my
that
God.
One, that one was a pleasure too. Just
that
a
was our
complete-
magnus opus. We were the funniest we'd
Just-
ever been.
Just a complete, yeah. Take our word for it. It was really good. It was a delight.
Goodness
but,
me.
Yeah. Those will probably appear one day when my soul has left my body. No, they're there. I just gotta dig. I gotta do something with them. There's so much footage. It's so much footage.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Gonna start up this raid. And anyway,
Don't.
thank you again for watching. And remember, there's gaming outside the Forgotten Realms.